The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. To get champion, we can do it together. When we look to the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PSP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher, wonder when it all goes down, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We get champion.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right side that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Happy Tuesday to those in television land. Happy Tuesday to our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday, to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much as usual for tuning in. Really appreciate each and everyone's continued support. Remember guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show some support by subscribing, which will be greatly appreciated. Tonight's topic is the root of evil with your host, Mystic Sensation, which is Baron and Anne-Marie. And we have Melting Pot in the building, and also Mr. Rattigan is here, but he's having some issues with his system, so they're sorting that. So he will be joining us fully on stage shortly. Also, Melting Pot is trying to sort some mic issues there, so give them a few minutes, guys. Let me just quickly welcome those in the chat: Carla Ebanks, Beverly, Bernice Brooks, Delia Headlam, Doris McCoy, Bloomy Coleman, Tony Green, Patel Cruikshank, Rennie Swaby, Sharon Ricketts, Freedom, Maureen McLean, Lindell McCormack, Rosa, Rosalie Ricketts, Barbara Giwa, Charmaine Splott, George Bedford, Jennifer Brown, Norma Barkley. Welcome. Blessings. And I just want to say happy belated International Women's Day to all the women in the chat. Big up on yourself. Also, Idea, welcome. Marie May, welcome. Without any delay, I am going to hand over to Baron. Perline Williams, bless up yourself. Relette Taylor, bless up yourself.
All right, blessings. Once again, an umbrella welcome to all of my listeners. Right. In the meantime, we have Rattigan in the house, of course, Melting Pot in the house, but as my wife said, they are dealing with some technical issues. So I am just going to carry on the program until, they up and running. Now, Jamaica, we have seen Flavor Williams, in Parliament today, making her presentation. And, okay, Melting Pot is in, making her presentation. And, she shaped a narrative as it relates to saying that, the economy was has been well managed under the Jamaica Labour Party administration. Right. Before I proceed any longer, let me just have Brother Rattigan meet and greet his people. Brother Rattigan, meet and greet.
Mic check. Mic check. Yeah. Kevin, big up yourself, Kevin Stew. Don't know what to do without you. Melting Pot, Steve Sosa, long time. Lady Anne-Marie, Lord Byron, and all of you wonderful people out there in social media land. If it's Tuesday, it must be Mystic Sensation. And I apologize for not being here for the last several weeks, but it go already. I have to talk to the Lord Byron and make him know how things go. So
all right.
And things like that. But happy to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Blessings. Thank you very much. And, without any delay, let me just have Melting Pot meet and greet these wonderful people as well. Melting Pot.
Still low.
And no sound, Melting Pot. Still, your sound, not coming in. All right, so in the meantime, okay, how you sound? Nothing. All right, let me just allow Melting Pot to have his thing sorted out. Yes, my Jamaican people. So
Nothing.
So as we were saying, we heard Flavor Williams in Parliament, right, shaping a narrative as if to say that the Jamaica Labour Party managed the economy very well. And while she was there saying all of that, right, and talking about, good fiscal discipline and talking about, plans that they have to roll out, it was disgusting to me, right, to know very well that we have the facts in terms of, the Jamaica Labour Party damaging the economy. And this is the level of misinformation and disinformation that we are talking about. Now, Jamaica, what I want to show you something, right? Because let us all bear in mind that the economy under Andrew Holness regime, right, was long being, I would say, destroyed as a result of his corruption, right? Andrew Holness administration totally unable to become innovative as it relates to growth, right? And so we have a problem. I am going to show Jamaica as it relates to we not able again to reduce our trade deficit. So it is telling you specifically that the economy is just not growing under Andrew Holness administration. But what I want to point out to you, my people, I want to point out to the fact that under the Andrew Holness administration, as it relates to Beryl and Melissa, they want to make it seems as if it is Beryl and Melissa, right, that cause the economy, right, all the obstacles that the economy is currently facing, right? We know that Beryl and Melissa, right, have some damage to the economy, but we are going to show Jamaican people that the Jamaica Labour Party administration had damaged the economy as a result of corruption. Now, this is where I'm going to take you. Let us look, right, to show you evidence of such as it relates to Hurricane Melissa and Beryl, total damage. This is where I'm going. and I'm going to point out something significant to you. Now, let me just ID this document for you and put it up, right? Now, yes, this is the last document that I just put up. So let me just show you as it relates to that document relating to Hurricane Beryl and Melissa. And we just want to show the evidence that Andrew Holness administration, right, damaged the economy prior to Beryl and Melissa. So we want to show the evidence where that is concerned. So let me just go to the document and present this document to you, so you know one can read it. Okay, here it is. Hurricane Beryl struck Jamaica in 2024, right? June, early July, as a Category 5 storm, followed by Hurricane Melissa, which struck on October 28, 2025. Both were major devastating storms that caused significant damage to the island infrastructure and agriculture. Now, look at this, people. Key details. Hurricane Beryl in 2024 affected roughly 160,000 people, causing severe agricultural damage. Now, Hurricane Melissa in 2025 struck with 185 miles per hour wind, right? On October 28, 2025, causing widespread destruction across the island, right? The impact, the consecutive back-to-back high-intensity Category 5 significantly hampered recovery. Now, take that away. Now, let me show you something now, Jamaica. And we are going to go to the document, right, that prove it as it relates to JIS document. You want to see where I'm going tonight, my Jamaican people. So let us get to the JIS document, right?
Get the paper back, please. The paper.
Okay. All right, so this is it? Okay. Now here it is. Total loss and damage from Hurricane Melissa estimated to $1.952 trillion. So let us round that off, my Jamaican people, to $2 trillion. You want to see where I'm going. So that is Melissa, right? Estimated damage, right? At about 2 trillion Jamaican dollar. Take that away on me. Why did I show that document? I want to show that Jamaica economy has been damaged by the Jamaica Labour Party administration before Melissa and Beryl. Now, let me bring up the document to show you that there was a significant problem as it relates to corruption where that situation concerned pre-Beryl. Now, look at this, Jamaica. Let us get to the next document. Remember what the Auditor General said, right? $3 trillion unaccounted for. And so then one has to understand that this was our problem prior to Melissa and Beryl. I want to just show the evidence and roll out the evidence that the Jamaica economy, you understand, has been hampered by Andrew Holness administration corruption. The evidence goes to show that December 11, 2024, the Auditor General came out with this crisis that we are facing as it relates to what is crippling our economy. This is what the Auditor General came out with. That $3 trillion in unaccounted government spending in Jamaica. Now, here it is. A staggering 3 trillion in Jamaica public spending remains unaccounted for 6 to 11 year period. Now, that period, as it relates to Andrew Holness period, right, covered all of that period, my Jamaican people, where $3 trillion unaccounted for. Now, remember, I showed you Melissa, right? And I show you Beryl, and I show you the total damage of Hurricane Melissa and Beryl. And the total damage for Hurricane Melissa and Beryl, you understand, we round it off to $2 billion. But look, as it relates to where we're talking about the possibility of corruption, and to the fact that under Andrew Holness administration, right, $3 trillion unaccounted for. That is much more than what Hurricane Melissa and Beryl had done. Want you to bear in mind. So what Favour Williams is coming out with and try to spin, Andrew Holness administration had damaged the economy way before Beryl and Melissa. That is the point that I want to prove. Now, Janet Calder, Executive Director of JAMP, has called the findings an accountability crisis, with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Health and Wellness, and Labor Social Security being identified as the worst offenders. So my Jamaican people, the Jamaican economy, were in turmoil as a result of these things. Turmoil. Now, have not provided the Auditor General or the Parliament with and the value of those reports, we came up with a $3 trillion crisis, Calder said during a media roundtable in Kingston. Now, let us look and see some of the areas being damaged in our economy. So when you have a Favour Williams coming out and trying to say that Andrew Holness administration had performed well with the economy, and really and truly, the obstacles that we face, you understand, merely geared on Beryl and Melissa. Not true. Obvious lie. We have problem in the economy as it relates to corruption, right? Our corruption as it relates to unaccounted for, trillions of dollars unaccounted for, over 3 trillion. It is much more now. It has reached now to roughly about $4.5 trillion because it is growing. No correction done. So I am showing the evidence that while they are talking, we have serious problem with our economy. Now, look at this, people. The Education Ministry has not accounted for $902 billion over 9 years. Now, $902 billion. Just imagine, my Jamaican people, that if you have $902 billion to put into social programs, right? Jamaica would have been, going over certain hurdles. But corruption is the order of the day. We have seen, as it relates to the Ministry of Education, Rural Reid, right, has now put before the court, right, and facing, right, the judiciary. Now, it simply means we will never able, you understand, or the Auditor General will ever able to account for all the millions of dollars that Rural Reid had stolen. So when we talk about $3 trillion unaccounted for, the fact of the matter, we are saying that it may not be that all $3 trillion were stolen, but to the fact of the matter that we can't give an account, right, for the $3 trillion, it means significant problem, serious corruption. And guess what? What caused the problem in terms of the Auditor General not able, you understand, to track these things and definitely identify how, you understand, the expenditures were spent. The thing that we have is the appropriation account, right, for various ministries has not been tendered on a yearly basis when it comes to Andrew Holness administration. And even now, as we speak, right, that has not been fixed. What is the appropriation account? The appropriation account is going to explain the expenditures, right, as it relates to government spending. And what the Auditor General is facing is the problem to the fact that none of these ministries under Andrew Holness administration has been submitting, right, appropriation account. So checks and balance, right, is lacking. So look at what I'm saying. The Education Ministry has not accounted for $902 billion over 9 years. It has not stopped there. The Health Ministry for $695 billion over 10 years. Let us talk about these people. You have heard Christopher Tufton came out and said that his administration, no other administration, under the history of Jamaica, had increased the healthcare budget from $64 billion to $147 billion. And so then we realized that, okay, when Portia Simpson between 2012 to 2015, right, healthcare, you understand, was at an operable level of 70%, right, of nurses and doctors as it relates to the vacancy fill in the healthcare sector. But how could it be, my Jamaican people, that Christopher Tufton, who had now expanded the budget from $64 billion and now increase it to $147 billion, that is more than 200% increase. But yet, the healthcare system is now operating at a what? A 40% level. So what this goes to say we are spending much more in the Andrew Holness administration and getting what? Less service. Here's the evidence. The Health Ministry for $695 billion cannot be accounted for over a 10-year period. Let us move from the healthcare and go to the Labor Ministry. What happened to the Labor Ministry? Let us visit over there. The Labor Ministry for $53.4 billion over the same period. 6 municipal corporations were also found to have failed to document over $10 billion in spending over 11 years. Now, here it is now as it relates to the broader concerns across government. Other government entities also face scrutiny. 6 municipal corporations collectively fail to account for $10 billion over 11 years, while the Forestry Department left $8.6 billion unreported over decades. Now, the Department of Correctional Services account for $36.9 billion in unreported spending over 4 years, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force left $152 billion undocumented over 3 years. We heard Strong came out and talk about how much billions of dollars spent for the security, right? And all now, body cameras, shorten. Here it is, Jamaica. Jamaica Constabulary Force left $152 billion undocumented over 3 years. Now, let us speak, take that away, Oni. Let us speak to more significant thing to prove to Jamaican people that as it relates to our large trade deficit, right? What happened to our large trade deficit? We are going to show Jamaican people that when the People's National Party in power, guess what? As it relates to 2012 to 2015, what transpired? Portia Simpson, right, has to deal with, right, going back to IMF, right, and, get IMF back on board because, of course, the Bruce Golding government damaged the IMF, right? And we were in a bad place. We are going down the economic abyss. So I am going to show you something as it relates to, under that circumstances, how excellent that Portia Simpson administration had done in terms of fixing the economy. And guess what? Under Portia Simpson administration was reducing the trade deficit. Simply means that the economy was growing. It simply means that our exportation, right, was increasing, and our importation was decreasing. Here is the evidence, people. Let us go to it. Let us find this document as it relates to the PNP, right? Reducing, right, the trade deficit as it relates to what we have. We can bring up more in terms of, okay, let me export you the 200. Okay, all right, good. Now, look at this, people. Now, 2012 to 2014, higher deficit, generally exceeding 3 billion annually as the country worked to reduce import, right? So we were importing $3 billion, right? That reached Portia Simpson when Portia Simpson went into power. My Jamaican people, you are going to see how Portia Simpson administration between 2012 to 2016 bring down, right, the importation bill. Here it is. So from 2012 to 2014, right, as soon as Portia Simpson went in, the importation bill was $3 billion. Now, with good sense and good government, and Portia Simpson administration was working now to decline the importation bill, we reduce it to $2.31 billion, right? Approximately based on 21.8% decline. Isn't this a wonderful performance as it relates to how the economy was fixing, as it relates to how Portia Simpson, right, was able now to be importing less and exporting more? But look now, 2016, Portia Simpson carried down to what? $1.81 billion as it relates to importation, right? This goes to show you this is a stellar performance coming from $3 billion, right, importation bill to a stellar performance, 1.81 billion. Now, let us look on Jamaica Labour Party history in terms of dealing with the trade deficit. Let us represent that. We are going to show Jamaica that Andrew Holness administration indeed damaged the economy. And we are bringing out these evidence so that people can see these evidence in a very clear way. This is not about partisan politics. This is about the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, let us look at this again. Now, look at this now. Jamaica trade deficit between 2016 and 2026. This is under Andrew Holness administration. Now, has remained consistent with imports significantly outpacing exports, driven by high demand for food, fuel, and manufactured goods. The trade deficit, defined as the value of imports minus export, was approximately $1.81 billion in 2016. Remember, we showed that where Portia Simpson left it, brought it down from $3.8 billion to $1.81 billion in 2016. Now, look on the key figures for the trade deficit. Now include, look at this. So 2016, when we hand it over to them, right, the importation bill reduced to 1.81 billion. But look what happened in 2017, right? Just 1 year. Just as a matter of fact, it will be less than 1 year that the Andrew Holness administration in power. In 2017, the importation bill expanded to what? $2.10 billion, right? But look at it now. 2018, data indicated a 9.94% increase in the deficit from 2018 to 2019. Look now, at 2019, mighty God, climbing $2.22 billion. Now, look at 2023. The trade deficit was reported at $2.7 billion for January to June. Look at now 2025, which was last year. The trade deficit widened further, with imports now reaching $6.2 billion. Take that away. So, my Jamaican people, with all these telling facts and telling details, right, one can see that under the People's National Party administration, the People's National Party administration, hands down, manage the economy in a very, very effective way and laid a red carpet to Andrew Holness. And what Andrew Holness did with that red carpet, he wiped mud and slime on that red carpet, damaging our economy. So what we are telling Jamaica, as it relates to the evidence, is that when you see the data, you will realize that when you compare the factors as it relates to the trade deficit that continued to be increasing under a Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, as it relates now to $6.8 billion in trade deficit. Now let us look now under the Portia Simpson administration. Portia Simpson administration reduced it from a $3.8 billion to what? $1.18 billion in 2016. So Jamaica, do you want anything? Do you want to continue to listen to Favour and our spinning in Parliament? Do you want to continue to listen to Andrew Holness with his spinning in Parliament? Do you want to listen to the Jamaica Labour Party as it relates to the evidence that we are looking at, the research that we have done, coming up with the evidence, showing you the stark reality between the Jamaica Labour Party administration and the People's National Party administration, and it is day and night as it relates to how the PNP, you understand, driving the economy, right? They're well balanced, well measured, and under the PNP, we were able to reduce the trade deficit from 3.8 billion to 1.8 billion. And we had given them in 2016 the 1.8 billion. What did they do with it? They increased the trade deficit from 1.8 billion to 6.8 billion. Brother Rattigan, you have not been with us for this longest while. Now, based on the documentation that we present, what say you on the matter?
Still getting used to this system, yeah. But I mean, there's no controversy there. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. So, like you said, you know, people just have to make a choice whether or not they want to continue to listen to the propaganda or pay attention to the facts. And it's clear, if you pay attention to the facts, then nobody is going to, none of these politicians will be able to tell you things and fool you. But, you know, the question is, will our Jamaican people heed the warning, heed the notice, and pay attention to what we're saying as opposed to what they're saying? And, you know, what they do is, a lot of the things that they're doing, they clothe it with all kind of highfalutin language. And our people, a lot of us, we don't understand what's going on, but them sort of catchphrases, and then we like bait, and we jump onto the catchphrases and don't pay attention to the things that really, really matter. And that is the trade deficit has widened from 2016 till now, and it's going to get worse. It's not simple. It's going to get worse because at the end of the day, Jamaica is not producing. It's not producing. We're importing. We're not producing. And that's why the trade deficit is just going to balloon. And you know who's going to suffer at the end of the day? Our people, because they will have to pay more for imported items because Jamaica doesn't produce. Some of the things that Jamaica used to produce years ago, Jamaica is importing. I think Jamaica importing now bananas and some produce, a lot of produce. You know,
onions and chickens and all of that we produce.
They
are importing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there is one undisputed fact, and it's this: we're not feeding ourselves. We can't feed ourselves, and what that means, it means you have to import. And if you don't have export to match up with the imports, they're going to have a trade imbalance. Exactly. And so what happens is that it's another debt. It's another debt around acting as a millstone around the necks of the Jamaican people. combined with the other things. It's just a problem. Just a problem. So that's all I have to say. I mean, the facts speak for themselves.
The facts, yes, definitely. The facts speak for itself. Thank you for that input, Brother Ratigan. Melting Pot, what say you where this is concerned? We showed it that the reality as it relates to under the People's National Party, right? And showing the comparison between the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party, how they deal with the trade deficit. And you have seen that the People's National Party had reduced, right, the trade deficit, right, as it relates to the importation bill from $3.8 billion to $1.8 billion in 2016. And the Jamaica Labour Party had gotten the economy, right, and they right now shift the balance as it relates to increase, right, the importation bill from 1.8 billion to over 6.8 billion. What say you, Brother Melting Pot?
First of all, I want to bless up the people. You hearing me good now, Sir Byron?
Valid.
Yeah. Enough blessing to everyone tuning in tonight. Special love always to my people them down in a ground zero, you know. Sorry for the technical difficulty, but sometimes it's beyond my control. Yeah. Well, as it relates to the trade gap, you know, we have to put the right word out there. We have a trade imbalancement. You understand? Yeah. And I mean, that come from just people without vision. Because, I mean, if me I run my house, you know, I may have $10 in my house. Yeah. Me can't want spend $3 to make no dollars. And that me say I want. You understand? Yeah. Because where we are exporting, you know, comparing to where we are import, it's a vast gap. And that gap should have been narrowing long time. If the government want to deal with something, them supposed to narrow the gap there. But instead, the gap going wider and wider. We are export less and I import more. Because some skullduggery are going on the import sector. As it relates to some guy have some importation license, but them a politician. Here, and them I import a vast amount of things because them have storage.
Exactly.
Yeah, but exporting nothing. Yeah, so what is happening now? Our US dollar I go away. And we now get back the amount where we are sent out there. You understand? So we have a trade imbalance. Now, as it relates to what Ratty said, and it's well taken point, Jamaica import something where we supposed to export. Onion, carrot, red peas, all these things. Banana. Yeah. We supposed to export them things there all over the world. You understand? Because we have the proper climate and the proper soil to grow that. And we had to do that long time. But all of a sudden now, some politician guy come in and decide, so well then, you what happen now? Them farmers here, we don't respect them in Jamaica, you know. I see the people, we don't care about them, we care about ourselves. So you what happen now? James Robertson, hold them 2 class here, importation license here. Import anything where you want in a green produce. Glut the place. Mash up the farmer them. Mash up the economy. And that's what's going on. And I can't understand for the love of God how the people them never see that coming them way. Because remember James Robertson do it long time, you know, before even the last election. Now, the whole of Jamaica supposed to come out and voice them opinion as it relates to James Robertson import them stuff there in the place. Because what to do? That mash up our economy. Our farmer them can have a life out of agriculture. But yet still we have to pay a bag of money for a minister for agriculture. We have it as part of our ministry. But it now produce nothing for the people in Jamaica. So that is a ministry where you know gone corrupt. Because the minister for agriculture not supposed to have no license out there. We are import the thing them where we grow. and a mash up our farmer and our economy. I remember we don't have nothing else, you know. Because if you look on the backside, them take with the levy. So nothing now come off a backside to balance out where we are going in the export and import of agriculture product. We don't have nothing else. So there lies Jamaica problem as it relates to what is going on in the Ministry of Agriculture, primarily. You understand? What else is there that Jamaica export? Because the coffee farmer, them a get a beaten same way. The man who's supposed to lobby for the coffee farmer, he must stagnate them because they must import coffee as well.
Yeah.
So we have a big problem. I think like banana, Jamaica import banana from Belize and all them places. Madman. Jamaican people, we have to wise up to where we're going, you know. We can't spell it out no more, you know. We bring it to you guys, not the least simplicity format one can understand. No minister must have no importation license for agriculture product where we grow. A time when you take to the street and demonstrate for the thing them that is wrong in the country. Because, I mean, we are here over in the diaspora right now. We can only highlight the issues. But people in Jamaica, especially the farmer them, we have to go out, man, and march, man. Find the Ministry of Agriculture, man. Yeah, the summer round Hero Circle where they. You find it, man. Round the side there. Go there and block the road, man. Demonstrate. Because them things are just craziness and madness, you know. Yeah, craziness and madness. And the government is at fault. The government is at fault. So, time come now, people. We have to take up on an issue on a more serious basis. Go out there, voice an opinion. Black all of the media house them. State an opinion. Yeah? US Embassy, we look on it. Canadian Embassy, we look on it. The British High Commission, them there in Jamaica, them will look on it. Yeah, those are the three primary countries, yeah, that will take Jamaica interest at heart. Now, Uncle Sammy might play a little dandish on the game with Jamaica, so we never not too watching, but them media house we see it, you know, cause satellite up there. Anything I go on at Jamaica, them can't see it. Yeah, but be sure no BBC would have broadcast it back in the UK. Block the Ministry of Agriculture. Block the RGR, the JBC, or PBC, or what one name, and Big Mama Station, and demonstrate on the placard. A time we start some action core in Jamaica now. Yeah? Too much mouth talking and no action. Me see it happening in Sri Lanka, you know. And right now, Sri Lanka is on the rebound. I remember the other day, Sri Lanka couldn't buy oil. Country broke. But now Sri Lanka stage all World Cup T20. That means them economy revive. What the people them they do? Them black. The place them with them black and demonstrate. And it was televised all over the world. And so that family had to leave everything where them rob in a Sri Lanka and run and go seek exile. Some boy if run out of Jamaica go seek exile too. Them are criminal. I yield back the floor, Sir Byron.
All right. Thank you for that, Melting Pot. And, you know, let me just piggyback on what you said there, right? That, you know, people need to take the, you know, the horns, the bull horns, right in their hands. And you understand, go out and do a peaceful demonstration, right? As it relates to, you know, what is going on in Jamaica, right? The very seriousness of our corruption. We have a prime minister going 3-4 years with his statutory declaration uncertified. We have not seen this, right? Nowhere in the Caribbean basin. So why are we tolerating it? We shouldn't tolerating it. Now, Jamaica, we have to go to the healthcare crisis again, right? in Jamaica, because that is extremely significant. And when Jamaica look at this as it relates to how the United States been treating, right, the Prime Minister administration as if they are footmat, right, because of the level of culpability, the Jamaica Labour Party administration is fully compromised. And so then, of course, the United States, right, based on the evidence on them, right, can, do as what they like, right, to the Andrew Holness administration. Remember when he came out last week and he spoke in terms of supporting the Cuba, what did I say? I say to the entire world that Andrew Holness is a hypocrite. And within less than a week, he proved me to be correct. So this is what I am saying, because I am following him and I know him like that. Now, let us look and to show you the wrong that continue to be done. We see NNN trying to now spin this and try to now put the fault, right, to Cuba indirectly. You have to understand, right, when you have the propaganda media coming out. I want you to hear Cliff Hughes. Some of the things that Cliff Hughes been saying. I want to shift blame, right, from the Andrew Holness administration to now the Cubans. Listen to this, my Jamaican people. So let us show you how the propaganda media being so effective, right? And I mean, this is why this government is so toxic, right? Allowing misinformation and disinformation to just fill the air, right? That is so wrong. So let us look at this as it relates to what we have here. Right? Now, listen to this. Before I play NNN clip, let us roll back the curtain to Andrew Holness. What I want to show Jamaican people is to show that this man is evil. I'm going to roll back the curtain for you to listen to him. Yes, it's right. So listen to that.
Address the situation in Cuba with clarity and courage. Cuba is our Caribbean neighbor. Its doctors and teachers have served across our region. Its people are part of our shared history. But today, the Cuban people face severe economic hardship, energy shortages, and growing humanitarian strain. Jamaica is sensitive to the struggles of the Cuban people. Humanitarian suffering serves no one. Apart from our fraternal care and solidarity with the Cuban people, it must be clear that a prolonged crisis in Cuba will not remain confined to Cuba. It will affect migration, security, and economic stability across the Caribbean basin. It is therefore important that we carefully consider this matter and take collective action. Let there be no doubt, Jamaica stands firmly for democracy, human rights, political accountability, and open market-based economies. We do not believe that long-term stability can exist where economic freedom is constrained and political participation is limited. Sustainable prosperity requires openness to ideas, to enterprise, to investment, and to the will of the people. This moment, therefore, calls not for rhetoric, but for responsible statecraft, even as we encourage support for humanitarian relief. Jamaica supports constructive dialogue between Cuba and the United States aimed at de-escalation, reform, and stability.
All right, hold on. Right then and there, my panel, right? When he speaks about reform and stability, let us delve into that. Now, Cuba, as we know it, as it relates to the political philosophy, right? They appeal to communism. So if Andrew Holness, right, want to be fair, why would Andrew Holness want to have it out there that Cuba need to consider reform? I want people to listen to me. And so then, voicing that out there that Cuba needs to consider reform, it simply means it is saying that they need to change their political order, right? From what? Communism to democratic? No. Let me ask Jamaica a question. Andrew Holness, in the same breath, is dealing with China. I want to show people the hypocrisy, you know. Andrew Holness, in the same breath, is dealing with China. Let me ask you, Jamaica, do you believe that Andrew Holness would have stated to China to reform its political policy? No, he wouldn't have done that. And he can't do that. China, a first world country, a giant. And I am showing you that the political biases right here of him invoke that into the ear that Cuba need to consider political reform, because that is where he's going. While he is also dealing with China, trading with China, and he cannot say to China that China need to consider reform. He will never ever say that. Now, let us hear him out.
We believe there is space, perhaps more space now than in years past, for pragmatic engagement that protects the Cuban people from any further deterioration in their circumstances and instead promotes national and regional prosperity. We must
National and regional prosperity. What is that as it relates to your national and regional prosperity? However, the mixed message that you have given into that conversation, right, seems one that you are sending out, right, in alliance with Cuba, and at the same time, you want Cuba to consider reform, right? You have identified that the United States, right, having Cuba under the suppressive state, right? You have identified that. But look at this now, Jamaican people. Let me show you something. As it relates to now that Andrew Holness had taken a 180 degrees, which we all know, we all had seen that. But here, Big Mama, right? Because it goes now, because the Jamaica Labour Party understand that many Jamaican people, right, locally and in the diaspora, right, in the Caribbean region, right, upset in terms of what he had done, right? He used station like Big Mama to spin it, right? And want to shift blame to Cuba. My question is, how long that the Jamaica Labour Party administration has been dealing with Cuba, right? And know all the policy position where Cuba is concerned, right? So then for Andrew Ones to finally, right, aware that certain things wrong in terms of certain policies, right, that Cuba, right, stand for, and it goes against international policy. I want you to hear Big Mama. Listen to Big Mama. Yes, honey. Final clip. Listen to the spin that the Jamaica Labour Party, right, asking Big Mama to spin it for them, and listen to the spin as it relates to what, right, Big Mama is going to do. Right? Is that the Big Mama clip? Okay, let me see. Okay.
The Cuban doctors in Jamaica being exploited? Let's hear what Cliff Hughes has to say.
We are now learning that their movement in Jamaica was restricted. Their passports were being held on to.
Hold on, the Jamaica. You see the spin? You see the spin? Cliff Hughes now start to shape it now for the Jamaica Labour Party. Wanting now to say that the Cuban authority are vicious. The Cuban authority have been taking away the Cuban workers' passports, right? And controlling their salary. Listen now, you know. This is now shifting because people now caught up with Andrew Ones that he flip-flop. And because he's compromised, United States asked him to make sure that he goes back, right, and correct what he had previously said. And he has to do it. So this is how Cliff Hughes now come in, spinning it now, right, to say that Andrew Ones is not to be blamed, is as a result of what the Cuban authority are doing with their people. Isn't that the same line the United States is taking? My Jamaican people, isn't that the same line that the United States is talking about humanitarian crisis? United States has no moral compass to talk about humanitarian crisis. None whatsoever. But listen to Cliff Hughes spinning up the cabbage, spinning up the scallion, spinning up the tomato, spinning over the time. Listen to this.
Yeah, they could not form certain social relationships here in Jamaica. They were, and I think the word used by George this morning was most appropriate, they were in servitude. That cannot be right.
So, okay, right, honey. After 50 years, Cliff Hughes, you and Andrew Ones finding out that, okay, we have been working with the Cubans all along. We have no problems with the Cuban. But oops, back foot, all of a sudden, the Cuban authority is now treating the Cubans as servitude. They are indentured slaves. I don't understand that. And while you are saying this, other Caribbean countries who use them have none of this experience. So here you are, Andrew Ones, because you know that you're fully compromised and you have been caught. You are now asking Cliff Hughes to go out there, you understand, and speak ill of the Cuban authority, and where you now side fully now with the United States policy in seeing Cuba to be violating, right, on the international stage. This is wicked. This is corrupt. Go on. Go along, Cliff Hughes. Work for your money. Work to the fact that you owe the government, you owe Jamaica revenue $1.5 billion. You understand, in revenue, robbing taxpayers. Work for your money, Cliff Hughes. Work for your money.
That cannot be right. And there are now many questions for the Jamaican government to answer. When did we know that this was the arrangement that the Cuban doctors and nurses and personnel were being subjected to?
So, okay, what he's saying here, don't blame Andrew Holness administration, because this revelation just came out. And so then Andrew Holness, right, is trying to correct it. So don't look on Andrew Holness to be blamed. Now, Jamaica, how long have we been dealing with the Cuban doctors and nurses and technicians? More than 50 years. More than 50 years we have been dealing with them. Never happened under no other administration. And the reason why it did not happen under any other administration, they were not corrupt, and United States could not have their way. If we are to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the United States is fighting against Cuba from in the Manley days, from in the Michael Manley days. This is nothing new. So what the United States is pushing out now is absolute garbage. Let us listen to Cliff Hughes.
When did we know that? And what did we do? According to the Jamaican Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Jamaican government only became aware of this recently. And that became a sticking point, which ultimately led to the Cuban government refusing to alter the payment arrangements.
This has nothing, Cliff Hughes, to do with any payment arrangement. Why it doesn't have anything to do with the payment arrangement? The Cuban doctors and nurses have been working with Jamaica for 50 years, and they themselves have never yet complained. They have never yet complained, not even once. And they were happy in performing their job. Never ever complained. So what you and Andrew Holness are now doing is concocted a story to sell the Jamaican narrative to what? Drive away the blame from Andrew Holness administration. Andrew Holness administration is a corrupted administration. And so then, when the United States tell him what to do, he has to jump. Cliff Hughes, you need to remember that when the United States told Michael Manley, right, to get rid of the Cubans, and Michael Manley said, no, I am not going to do that. I prefer to walk on my 2 feet and not on my knees. They could not do Michael Manley anything more than sabotage the economy by saying that they are going to make the economy cry. This is the United States, and here you are, right, aligning with the United States. Just imagine, look how much things the Cuban authority has done for Jamaica, the nurses, the doctors. In the pandemic, did the United States send any nurses and doctors to us? During the pandemic, when we faced the pangs of hell, Did the United States look to us to help us? Most of our nurses that we have trained and continue to train, we are losing them to the United States. We are losing them to Canada. We are losing them to UK. So tell me, how is it that United States is helping us and you are here doubling down as it relates to this devil soup that you are drinking? Wanting Jamaica to believe that, okay, the Cuban authority is horrible. No, is it the Cuban authority that placed embargo on themselves, or it is the United States placed embargo on the Cuban economy to suffer them, to suffocate them? And here you are, running the same parallel line with the United States. This is a crying shame. Let us look.
Which led to the collapse and termination of the program. Is that so? Well, I've been trying to get the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and, you know, I hope to be able to have a word with her. But when did we find this out? When did we find out that, listen, when we pay the Cubans, the money go to the Cuban government take what they want. And
people, you have to understand the art of politics, right? And the psychology being utilized here, and the reverse psychology that being utilized here. Cliff Hughes want to get the message out there in saying that the Cuban authority is ill-treating the nurses and the doctors. And there now, this is the reverse psychology, or the psychology in reverse. When did we find out? When did we find out? He is not holding the Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, as it relates to being culpable. He is not holding them responsible. His mission here is to put, right, the evil element in the air that the government of Cuba is ill-treating their people. And so then, what Andrew Ones had done, he has a right to do it. So don't make it look as if he's challenging the Jamaica Labour Party. When did you find out? That is the spin, people. And you have to understand the art of politics, right? Now listen.
According to this report, coming from this human rights organization, Cuba Archive, and let me tell you, I read that report and I was very wary while I was reading it, because we know a lot of politics is mixed up in this.
Jamaica is pointing the finger at Cuba for the collapse of a key medical
Let us take that away on you. Right? Now, that is Cliff Hughes coming on with a master spin. A master spin. Andrew Ones is shaking his hands and said, well done. Well done. I think, you know, we were able to roll back some of the damage where this is concerned. But look, Jamaica people, that's why Mystic Sensation is now carrying you through, right, these patches. Now let us go to the next document, Tony. Look at this, Jamaican people. Let me remind them, as it relates to, right, this is where we are going to show them up, right? Now, listen to this.
Cuba has expressed regret over the government of Jamaica's decision to end the long-running medical cooperation program between the two countries. In a statement released by the Cuban Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Havana confirmed that Jamaica informed Cuban officials on March 4 that it would terminate the health agreement that has been in place for decades. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So this contractual agreement, pay attention, people, has been engaged for decades. Not now. As a matter of fact, over 50 years. And so then to abruptly came to this decision is now a feedback as a result of what Andrew Holness had said in the defense of the Cuban. But, of course, the congressman pushed back and said, well, we are going to make sure that you terminate the Cuban contract. He cannot say no. He cannot say no because the United States have his seeds in his palm, in their palm. And so then they have to find a way to shift the blame to the Cuban authority. This particular contract, right, what has been implemented for over 50 years, they have been using it from various administration. But now, here it is, Andrew Holness administration. When Andrew Holness administration came in 2016, it is the same contract, the same policy guideline that he had depended on up until he made the statement. Up until he made the statement at CARICOM, it was the same policy. But here's the Cuban now speaking the truth. The Cuban authority is now telling you, Jamaica, that the Jamaica Labour Party, the Jamaica government acted unilaterally where this decision making is concerned.
Affairs of the Republic of Cuba. Cuba regrets the decision of the government of Jamaica to cease medical cooperation, yielding to pressure from the U.S. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cuba reports that, on March 4, the Foreign Ministry of Jamaica communicated to our embassy in that country the unilateral decision of its government to terminate the health cooperation agreement that has linked both nations for decades. With this action, the government of Jamaica yields to the pressures of the government of the United States, which is not concerned about the health needs of the Caribbean brothers. Cuba deeply regrets that in this way, a history of fruitful and sustained collaboration is disregarded, one that has brought countless benefits to the Jamaican people, who are now deprived of receiving the basic and specialized health services that Cuban collaborators provided. In response to the step taken by the government of Jamaica, the government of Cuba has made the sovereign decision to proceed with the return of the Cuban Medical Brigade. These health professionals leave behind an indelible mark and return to Cuba with the satisfaction of a duty fulfilled and the permanent willingness to assist wherever their spirit of solidarity is required. Cuba's work in Jamaica is an eloquent example of genuine cooperation. In the last 30 years alone, more than 4,700 Cuban collaborators have provided medical assistance on the Caribbean island. Currently, the brigade was composed of 277 professionals, whose work has had a collaboration speak for themselves. More than 8,176,000 patients treated, 74,302 surgical procedures performed, 7,170 births attended, more than 90,000 lives saved. Likewise, through the Operation Miracle program, present in Jamaica since 2010, the sight of nearly 25,000 Jamaicans has been restored or improved. Cuban cooperation has also been decisive in projects for the control and prevention of diseases such as malaria and in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The most recent example of this dedication was seen after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, which severely affected the island. In those difficult circumstances, the Cuban Medical Brigade remained firmly at their posts, many of its members working for more than 72 consecutive hours and actively joining the tasks of recovering hospitals and communities. Faithful to the historic relations of brotherhood and solidarity that unite us with Jamaica.
So right then and dear Jamaica, is it the Andrew Holness administration that even abusing the Cuban nurses and doctors, as you have heard it just a while ago, that many of them has been working straight for 72 hours? Let us deal with the facts that we are facing with. For nurses and doctors to be working straight for 72 hours, it will reduce the level of high alert. And so then their functionality will be somewhat reduced. but to show you that the Cuban nurses and doctors willing to go an extra mile and don't care and never complain. Never yet complain to the Jamaican authority that the Cuban authority is ill-treating them. And so then for Andrew Holness to concoct a story like this. Remember, Jamaica, that the government of Cuba would have trained these nurses for free. I want to get something straight here. In Jamaica, it is different. Right? Jamaica don't train nurse for free. Is that the case on it? So when you look and see the Cuban authority training their nurses, let us be truthful. Let us be truthful and ask this question. So if the Cuban nurses and doctors are working and they have to pay back a percentage, right, which has not been established to us, right, to the Cuban authority, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? They have never complained. They have never complained. But yet, they work under abuse. The Jamaica authority had abused the Cuban nurses and doctors. Both Cuban nurses and Jamaican nurses and doctors been abused with extensive hours, bringing down the level of alertness to their patient. That is not solid service. So let me ask the United States a question. The United States would have aware that our healthcare system is dilapidated. Our healthcare system, as the United States have it, would have been in a crisis. It is the fact that the United States government had sent travel advisory warning their people about our healthcare system in Jamaica. So now let me ask United States something. You are accusing Cuba as it relates to breaching humanitarian standard. You know into the fact as it relates to our healthcare system. And you pressure the Jamaican authority to send away the nurse, terminate the contract from the Cuban authorities. Tell me, United States, and I'm asking you, United States, do you believe after you aid and abet in damaging our healthcare system that our healthcare system is going to get better? This is the way how you, United States, care for people. What about the people now who have critical illness? No nurses and doctors to facilitate them. But remember, United States, we know as it relates to Donald Trump administration, we know the level of wickedness and evil, right, that your administration bring. Do you feel pleased to know that Jamaica is suffering under such circumstances? And this is the pressure you apply. But let us show the true history that it is not now that you have a problem with Cuba. Let us go back to history, Mr. United States of America. Play the next clip on it. Let us get back to the history and show you, you understand, the vindictiveness that you have for Cuba. You have embargoed Cuba, put them under such pressure. Let us show the true history of what you have done.
In the 1970s, a tiny Caribbean island stunned the world, not by war, not by gold, but by picking a side, one that risked everything. That island was Jamaica, and the side, communist Cuba. At the height of the Cold War, when most of the world was choosing between Washington and Moscow, Jamaica didn't just shake hands with Fidel Castro, it embraced him. While other Caribbean nations tiptoed carefully between the world's superpowers, Prime Minister Michael Manley took bold steps that left even his allies confused and his enemies furious. In 1975, Fidel Castro landed in Kingston, not in secret, not with guns, but to cheers, parades, and a hero's welcome. Thousands gathered at National Heroes Park, waving flags and singing. Some cried, others stared in disbelief. A Cuban leader openly celebrated in the heart of a country once loyal to Britain. Why did Manley, the son of a national hero, welcome a revolutionary leader into Jamaica with such open arms? The answer starts with a nation in crisis and a dream of something bigger. Michael Manley came to power in 1972, promising change, deep change. He saw poverty not as a fact of life, but as something to fight. He talked about justice, fairness, and giving the poor a chance. His plan? Democratic socialism, a middle road, one that kept democracy but promised economic equality. But as Manley tried to lift up the poor, the rich began to panic. Business leaders saw higher taxes, foreign investors saw risks, and Washington saw red. Still, Manley didn't back down, he doubled down. He reached out to countries that shared his ideals, and among them, Cuba stood out. Castro had defied the United States, built schools and hospitals, and offered medical aid across the region. Manley admired that. He wanted Jamaican children to read, Jamaican mothers to survive childbirth.
So people, I want you to listen now. The mission that Castro was doing, building schools, building hospitals. America didn't like that. United States didn't like that. Castro defied the order. Michael Manley observed the goodwill. What Michael Manley wanted was to lift it up the poor. But crony capitalists, as it relates to Donald Trump administration and Andrew Holness administration, have no interest in lifting up the poor. They are here to plunge our resources. Donald Trump administration had executed that in front of all the Caribbean people's eyes. Take away the oil from Venezuela and converted it to their personal use. What is that? What is that? Let us listen on.
And Jamaican workers to have rights. In Cuba, he saw a partner who believed in people before profit. And Cuba, they saw in Manley a rare friend in a hostile sea. The connection was electric. Cuba sent doctors, engineers, and teachers to help build Jamaica's future.
From in the 70s, this contractual agreement arranged between Michael Manley and Fidel Castro. Nurses, doctors, and technicians have been coming here from within the 70s. Never have a problem with the various administration from both political sides. Never, never, never have a problem. They were happy people. Why now? Why now? Listen on, Jamaican people.
One project stood out. The Jose Marti Technical School, built with Cuban aid and named after Cuba's national hero. This wasn't just a school.
Cuba built that to enhance education and lift up the poor in Jamaica. Andrew Wallace, what you have done to the Cubans is vicious and wicked. And you can see that your wickedness extended by using platform like Big Mama to spin lies and tear down the Cuban authority. This is vicious.
It was a symbol, a message. Jamaica wasn't looking only to the West. It was building its own path. And Cuba was walking beside it. But not everyone clapped. The United States grew nervous, then angry. Washington saw Jamaica as drifting into the Soviet orbit. The CIA, which had already tried to crush revolutions in Latin America, now turned its gaze to Kingston. Reports of covert interference began to rise. Guns started to flow into the country. Political violence soared. The 1976...
So tell me, United States, that the only thing that Cuba and Jamaica were doing was developing the country, was paving a way for the poor people. But you didn't like that. And you go against democratic socialism and go harder after Michael Manley increased the bauxite levy. That makes you bleed even harder, because that money was now able to give to the Jamaican people, offering them free education up to tertiary level. Crony capitalists did not like that. They didn't like it. They hated it. They hated it. They are from a colonial background. They believe that what we have belongs to them. Right as we speak, Donald Trump is sending that message. Right as we speak, Donald Trump is sending that message that everything as it relates to the Caribbean belongs to him and his administration. And it's either you're going to obey or pay the judgment coming down on you. Mighty God of Daniel.
Election, meant to be about ideas, turned into a bloodbath. Nearly 200 Jamaicans were killed in political clashes that year alone. Still, Manley stood firm. In a fiery speech at a PNP rally, he declared, "We are not for sale." The crowd roared, but behind the scenes, things were falling apart. Tourism dropped, the economy staggered, middle-class professionals fled. The media...
Just look at it, Jamaica. The level of sabotage that the CIA and the Jamaica Labour Party administration had done to Jamaica. Because Michael Manley and Castro meant well for the poor people. They were building schools. They were building hospitals. Crony capitalists didn't like it. We are to suffer so that white supremacy can be lifted up. Let me talk it for what it is. As far as Donald Trump administration is concerned, they have to suffer to lift up white supremacy. And so the MAGA and Donald Trump is on pursuit, seeking wealth in oil, ravishing. We are now witnessing the act of Henry Morgan once again on the Caribbean seas.
Branded him a dictator in disguise. Rumors swirled that Cuba was sending weapons, not just doctors. Some believed Manley was turning Jamaica into
The lies, the propaganda, the viciousness to bring down democratic socialism, because Michael Manley said free education up to university level, tertiary education up to tertiary level. They didn't like it. They want us to stay ignorant so that they can fool us and continue to fool us. And that is one of the reasons why the Jamaica Labour Party administration damaging our healthcare, damaging our education system. Take that away, honey. Now, let me just go to the panel as it relates to the presentation. Now, Melting Pot, based on what we have presented here, what say you on this mission?
Well, this is a mission that don't have no substance, because we all know right from the outset, that Donald Trump used Andrew Holness as a bargaining chip. And the bargaining chip was to destroy not just Jamaica, but Cuba. And this is a long-standing feud, It all begins from in the 70s. As we all know, Jamaica and Cuba was facing trade embargo as it related to United States pressure, trying to destabilize both country economy. Now we all know that JF Kennedy was the man who sanctioned Cuba from a long time, and blacklisted Cuba as a communist country. So, that thing carry on throughout all other presidency along the line. And this is Donald Trump now, utilizing the will of the capitalists and the United States to carry out, as his tenure as president, the trade embargo on Cuba and to continue to suppress Cuba. Now, Andrew Holness, because of him mix up and him compromisation, and him them use. But make we listen to what I'm saying at the CARICOM exhaust state. He mentioned about reform. Now, for Cuba, do reform, We know that Cuba would have to change from a communist country to capitalist. It wouldn't even be a democratic. It would have to be capitalist. That is the only reform you can see there. Now, as it relates to stability, the trade embargo, for him talk about stability in Cuba, the trade embargo would have to be lifted to allow Cuba to trade using the US dollar. So I don't understand when talk about stability there. So now when we look for migration, the trade embargo would have to also lift so that them can travel, get visa and travel. Because remember them restrict them on that, No security. Cuba don't have no security as far as I'm concerned. Because Cuba is not an island where gun traffic into Cuba from outside source. Because remember, all the guns that come in the region to Jamaica come from places like US. You understand? So we know that to be some crap speech where the guy get a CARICOM. None of it no really have nothing to do with Cuba where I talk about. Because him did not lobby with the United States to remove the trade embargo off of Cuba. So anything when him come and talk about Cuba is nothing beneficial to Cubans. Because him can't do nothing. And the CIA and America will not lift the trade embargo. So I don't know where I'm going with them speeches. But we all know say Jamaica and Cuba have them long-standing relationship from Michael Manley time. And Michael Manley stand up and fight for Cuba. Because Michael Manley say where Cuba was isolated, left on its own. No farmer trading with United States and other countries because them blacklisted. So at that time, it was only China, Russia, and Jamaica really, embrace Cuba and give a helping hand to Cuba. Now we know where we benefit from Cuba. We benefit education. We benefit building of houses, schools. We benefit from the same medical fraternity. A lot of them doctors come all in the malaria time, dengue time, measles time, mums and all them things there. Them come and them help out Jamaica. Yeah, and we and Cuba have a long-standing relationship. So me know say United States is telling Andrew Wallace to crush the relationship that Michael Manley established with Cuba and Fidel Castro from over 50 years ago. There is nothing else on the card apart from that. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm have to get the Cuban medical fraternity them out of the country. Because what it is, they were earning money that United States did not want them to have. Because what it is, they are earning US dollars. You understand? And that now would have released a portion of the trade embargo where United States placed upon them, because this is why I'm going around telling the country them in the region to stop using the Cuban doctors them and nurses and engineers, because it gives them a working environment where medical personnel is concerned, and that now take a chunk of US dollar into Cuba. Now we know that is what they're trying to tear down. Yeah? To continue to further destabilize the Cuban people and their economy. So even a guy like Rubio, Carlos Jimenez, they are Cuban descendant. The parents were Cuban who somehow find themselves in America. Yeah? And here are these two Judas selling out Cuba at the hands of America. And we as Jamaica now find the lie minister involved because him commit crime with United States, hold him accountable, yeah, behind closed door, strike a deal with him, and one of the deal is to mash up the Cuban medical fraternity in the region. Not just Jamaica alone, but we have strong leaders in the Caribbean like a Mia Matley who come out and redact everything with them through across. Make them know say for them visa, them can't take them visa. But she now send home the Cuban nurses and doctor because Mia Matley is not compromised. No, Andrew cannot do that. Andrew mix up in all type of illicit activity. And the Americans, them have him as a bargaining tool. Them use him. Yeah? So now Jamaican are suffering at the hands of Andrew Wallace. Not America, you know. Andrew Wallace. Because just like how Michael Manley stand up against them, if Andrew did clean and no compromise, him could have stand up against them. Him cannot. Regardless of the fact that him represent a capitalist party. And we know United States is a capitalist country. Just the mere fact that the people in our country need the service of the Cuban doctor. Any good thinking leader would have said to United States, you know, my people need the service of the Cuban medical personnel them. And you now have none to send come give me when I get them out of the place. Because United States will send no nurse and doctor to replace the Cuban them. Up till now, no. We see man fly out and go in the Middle East, I go to Philippines, I go down in India. Israel and all about saying I go look the medical personnel there. And him no come back and say one word. Me sure know him no come back and say one word to the Jamaican public at large. But him fly out. No nurse now come at Jamaica, man. Remember, Jamaica society, you know, is not conducive for people leave them good country coming up. Them will get gunshot down our place and them know that the road bad. Man will hold them up because them have to slow down when it come to pothole. Yeah, you think the people are idiot? The people them watch where I go on at Jamaica. Remember, him have got build house, give them where the house them where him build give them there. Can not build none for the local people, you know. So how you going to take people from overseas? We have put them up in a hotel, we don't know. So we know say as something where them cannot sustain nothing where them are going with. Yeah, so it will just continue to hurt the people. Them come out and them say this and them say that. But look at them patch up any of the gap them where them create. No, them leave them there. Them going to talk and leave them there. And leave the people to suffer. Yeah, and our Jamaican people now have to realize it. Enough is enough with this nasty government that is in charge of the country. We sell out the people them health because man compromise and have to bow to United States and Rubio. Yeah, and right now the people them are suffer because there is no doctors and nurses in Jamaica, you know. Because I remember hearing Tough Tongue same shot at 2,500 nurses to begin with, and him should have closed that gap there. That gap there not close, the gap widen. So what it is now, him say my bill hospital where the nurse and doctor they went Cornwall finish. Where are the nurse and doctor when down at St. Elizabeth Adolescent and Children Hospital finish? Spanish Town short of nurses and doctors as well. KPH same way. So right now the system, the health system just mash up brother in Jamaica. And as Sir Byron's rightly say, education and health. The Jamaica Labour Party have that on them book. The Jamaican. They want to keep with dunce and they want to keep the people them sick and them dead and them end up at them funeral woman named Archer. Yeah, because big business that for them. So we know the problem is nothing that we hear Big Mama coming talking about. Them never know say weird structure and all these things. Not like that. The Cuban doctors and nurse them and technician them they are work long time. Nobody no hear them a complain. Yeah? When you have problem like that, you see them a complain with placard like the Chinese them. Where they work for 6 months and can't get no pay. So would I like to ask if I know the same type of agreement. Yeah? Because me know say me no see the China man them a say them not get no pay from them government, you know. Them not get no pay from the Jamaican government. Them never protest against them government. You understand? Yeah. So what it is now with the Cuban them, that is different from the Chinese them who are working at the country. I remember the Cuban them here a long time before the Chinese them. And we know the agreement was on the table long time. From Michael Manley put it in place. It did over 50 years. No problem. This guy coming from, as a matter of fact, he was a part of Bruce Golding cabinet. And the nurses, them and doctors was around, no problem. Him take over the country from 2016. And 10 years after him a problem and them just aside this, what you call now, discrepancies as it relates to Cuban, them and them salary. I spin Big Mama come to spin this. And Jamaican people need to understand that Big Mama need to be arrested and charged for treason. You understand? Too much time now. That piece of shit also come off of the airway. And me ask Cardell Green if him can't move him off of the airway. This man is a name to society, you know. Him just come out and create all type of problem. Everybody know the tape we just played with the Cuban tell us said Jamaican government bow to US administration. Yeah? And by extension, it means tough tongue and holiness bow to Rubio and Trump. And that the Cuban media personnel about talk about. You understand? Nothing to do with no salary or no mistreatment in the country, like some inhumane situation I face them. No, nothing like that. Yeah, we hear Big Mama all talk about integration. Big Mama go one side, man, you too lie, man. The Cuban them are one family. Yeah, them integrate amongst them one another. Them socialize. Where you come with integration from? Eh? Just to make Andrew Wallace look good. After Andrew Wallace bow, everybody see him bow, you know. Up to me and Matt talk about him in bow. Because the whole I don't love bow. So it's a normalization for Andrew bow and tough tongue. Because it's a bowing party you have, you know. Because on a thief, on a mix up in all type of bang around. Drugs and money transaction where hit the people in Swiss system. So them hold on pound and them are using as ransom. You understand? And that a go on. And Jamaica people are suffer at the hands of holiness and them criminal party we have established. That's not a working party for the people, you know. It's a working party for the politicians them over the greenhouse. You understand? So we now have no time for your waste with nasty thinking dirty Big Mama. I need a bad pan for the wash up, man. I yield back the floor to you, Sir Byron.
All right, thank you for the input, Melting Pot. Let me just hear what Brother Ratigan has to say.
All right. This is a very interesting subject, a subject with many components. We don't have enough time to discuss this subject tonight. However, I'd like to share some observations and some analysis. I personally don't think that Prime Minister Andrew Holness wanted to get rid of the Cubans. And why do I say this? I went back, I did some research, and I looked at his speeches concerning the Cuban medical program. And he was very, very supportive of this program up until last year, even last year when Secretary Rubio visited Jamaica on the same stage, the Prime Minister was defending the Cuban medical program. So the question is, what happened? And just to piggyback on what a dear friend and brother Melting Pot said, them have things for the man.
Exactly.
You ask yourself a question, why is it then that he didn't do like Mia Motley and others in the Caribbean? Why? And Jamaica is supposed to have the loudest voice in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Yes.
But we spoke with a whimper, right? We talk big and then all of a sudden we have to back down. Now, just to give a brief history. 2016, two senators, Menendez out of New Jersey and Rubio out of Florida, they proposed a bill, and the purpose of that bill was to stop the Cuban medical program in its tracks. The bill didn't pass, and at the time they had a program where if you were a Cuban doctor, assigned overseas, the U.S. government allowed you to basically a parole. You could go to any embassy, any consulate in the country where you were assigned or anywhere else. And the American government would take you in. But that program ended. Then Senator Rubio became Secretary Rubio. And if you recall, back in 2019, State Department, I don't know if he was at the State Department at the time, but they came out with a program saying that they're going to revoke visas of people, leaders who are assisting the Cuban medical program. And they expanded it and they used it against certain Latin American leaders, and I believe they use it also in Africa. Now, the message was abundantly clear when Secretary Rubio went to Jamaica in 2025. He said, listen, we cannot countenance an agreement where a government is going to hold on to its nationals passport, nationals who are working overseas, and that they're going to collect money from another country and then pay the workers who are not in country. They're working in the country, paying paying the salaries to the Cuban government. Now, the biggest problem, I have lots of problems with the Prime Minister, believe me, lots. But in this case, one of the problems I had with him was him wimp out. Him wimp out because him start talk big and then all of a sudden him capitulated. Right? Him start say him never see any problems with human trafficking. And in fact, up to last year, they were saying it, late last year, they were saying, even my favorite minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith, saying that she examined it and she don't see any problems with it.
Exactly.
No, the agreement, there was an agreement in 2022, October 2022. And for some reason, the overall agreement expired in 2023. And they've been working on that. And I found that strange because that's 2023. Remember now, they started talking about visas from 2019.
Yes.
From 2019, they say, hey, be careful what you do with this program because you could be subjected to visa revocation and other things as well. So what happened is, I think the message was made quite clear to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and others that, listen, if you don't do what we're asking you to do, your visas are going to be revoked. That's the first step. And remember, we have lots of things on you.
Yeah.
And I think they were referring to the Prime Minister. And so it could come back to harm you. So you just do what we are asking you to do. Just go along to get along. Don't buck the system, because if you do, you're going to have to answer, and answer in a very meaningful way. So just do what we ask for the year as a Prime Minister. And so he could have stood up. He could have said, hey, you know what? No, I'm going to be like Barbados. No, we're not going to get rid of them. But then he's thinking about self. And he must say, you know, if we do this, what happened to me? And I'll tell you why I say it was difficult for him. Had it not been for the 120, was it 120? I think it was 140 medical professionals from Cuba who went to Jamaica during COVID. We don't know what would have happened if those 140 people didn't show up.
Exactly.
They showed up. But every time we asked for assistance, they were always there. So the question is, how can you turn your back on people like these?
It's vicious, right?
Yeah, how can you turn your back on people like these? And as both of you mentioned, this program has been going on for 50 years. From jump, the Jamaican government was paying the Cuban government in American dollars for the services rendered by some of these doctors. The Jamaican government was very aware that the Cuban doctors in Jamaica and nurses, medical professionals, they did not have their passports. They were aware of that.
Of course.
They were aware of that. So the question is, how come them just pretend that they're just finding out? No. How come them pretend? They were the ones paying the money all throughout the years. They were paying the money throughout the years. They know the people have the passport. And even the Jamaican government came out as late as last year and said, we don't find any trafficking of persons, and we don't find anything having to do with labor. All of a sudden now, hear the argument now. All of a sudden, hear the argument. We find that the Cuban government is in violation of international law and local labor laws. I don't find out. I know you'll find out. You signed an agreement back in 2022. There was an agreement signed in 2016 that signed, I think it was signed in February or early March. And Cubans came into the country on that agreement in mid to late March of 2016. If there was a problem, then why didn't you just say, no, we win the election, we don't want them here. They might go back home. We don't even want them leave because they want the JLP won the election in early March. The Cubans came like, I think like the 17th, 18th. They came like 11, 12 days after the election. And then there was an agreement signed, extension. And they kept paying. And you mean to tell me, people, that is only now they realize that that agreement was in violation of local, forget about international, but local labor laws? And we believe that? We must believe that them just find out?
No.
Come on, my people. Come on, my people. Look, what this is clearly illustrating is that is the principle that America doesn't have friends. America has interests. And what's the interest here? The interest is to bring Cuba to its knees. That's the interest. And we're going to use whatever method, means, whoever we can to get it to that point. And so them look around and them say, oh, see one man we're culpable, see one man where we have all kinds of things span and things like that. Yeah, man, when we talk to him, he must dance to the music. And that's exactly what our prime minister did. That's exactly what he did. And people, if you go back and look, the whole year today I've been researching the whole, and we did a program on this months ago, long time ago, we did a program on the Cuban Cuban Medical Brigade. We did something on this long time. Went back, refreshed myself, and started doing additional research. And it's clear to me that the Prime Minister is something this way never want, because he saw the value and the benefit of the Cuban doctors and nurses coming, and also teachers, and also agricultural experts.
Yes.
Right? Cuba was providing all of these experts to us. And I think in his heart of hearts, it killed him for saying, wow, them people are so good to us. COVID, look how much people them send. And now I forgot to say, why we don't want them. But again, that's geopolitics. And don't forget, people, when particular members of the cabinet started to talk a whole bunch of nonsense and said, oh, it had nothing to do with it, it had nothing to do with this. Minister Tufton said, geopolitical concerns were taken into consideration in making this decision. Remember that term,
Yeah.
Geopolitical. He said that. He said that. And then we have my favorite minister come out and say, oh, the Americans had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do. People, no, these people cruel. These people are some wicked people, And now, guess what? The same people who wouldn't take heed and talk about them are die hard and voted for them. Guess what? I better make sure no have no eye problems right now, And no go to some of the hospital, I want to live in the area which part the Cuban doctors them used to service, because them not dead if they serve, And here is the bigger judgment. You see, the people who want to voted for, make them take sick and see where them go. Them jump on a plane and go to Miami. Them jump on a plane and go to Miami and get health services. Meanwhile, what you have to do, you have to go try to get some bush and whatever you have to do for try and help yourself. But as far as having a medical professional help you in a certain places, it's not going to happen. And to show you how stupid these people are, ask them what is the plan B. Ask them what is the plan B. Okay, you get rid of the Cuban doctors. What the plan B? If you get rid of the Cuban doctors, and this is to show you, so this is something where came from the State Department and said, do it now. Because if something that they could have done, they would have said, okay, make we line up some doctors so that as these doctors go, we have doctors come in and replace them from some other parts of the world. None of them are run around and try to find doctors. So it's clear that this was something that they were instructed to do. And they never have the time for say, oh, we could get some people to cover them people. People, I know this operation, and Mr. Kimeda, you pointed out something that's very significant. Remember, with the travel advisor, the US government said, medical assistance is one of the reasons why it went up to 3 or 4.
Yes.
And that hasn't changed. And now it's going to get worse. So you see, when they did that, when they say, oh, them all lower it from a 4 to a 3, remember we all said, this is a joke, man. This is just a gimme. Them just give that to them for them to do certain things, because Jamaica wasn't deserving of a 3 or was it 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Jamaica wasn't deserving of what it was brought down to them. Should stay high, because the crime was still high and the medical thing was really bad. And in fact, they took great pains to say to Americans, we're advising you not to go to Jamaica. Because if you go to Jamaica and you get sick, there's a good chance that you're not going to get the proper medical attention. And we at the embassy and the State Department, we are not paying for you to medevac you to the US because it costs somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000, and we're not going to do it. So medical was the reason that is a problem. And none of them come and say to Jamaica, get rid of the doctors them, and jump. And no Jamaican have no doctors to replace the ones who will leave. People know see what I want. I yield.
All right. Well said, Brother Ratty. Right. And of course, what your melting pot cover there, right, definitely is true. Right. They have, right, what they have on Andrew Holness administration. And he has to simply dance to the music. Right? He has to simply...
I want to ask you and Rattigan a question, Sir Byron. Jamaica have any labor law?
Jamaica have what?
Labor law. If Jamaica have any labor law.
I would presume so, yeah.
Well, tell you what. It's like
have none. Because I'm not going to people them don't gonna work. If you have a labor law, the law must say your people supposed to have work. You can't have 200,000 Chinese in the place of work and a whole heap of Asian people from India. And the Jamaican people, them, they one side are about them and big land a beg and a hustle pan phone. There's no labor law in Jamaica.
Labor law is there, you know. But you have to remember that the Andrew Holness administration is a banana republic.
No, that's why I say it like that. It's supposed to be there, but it's not there, you know.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of laws. No, it's just like a lot of laws. I understand exactly the point you make, Melting Pot.
Yes.
It's there on the books, but it's not enforced.
Exactly.
Not enforced. Like a whole heap of things I'm having in Jamaica, them just don't. It's just not enforced. And you're absolutely correct. They have people who flying in the country, them get preferential treatment over the local Jamaican. And then you say, well, what's the purpose of the law if it's not to protect our people so that we can get a job and we can be treated fairly in the marketplace? And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
And that is one of the reasons why I'm saying to Melting Pot that yes, we do have it, but it's a banana republic. So you understand what that is. You know, let me get into a subject that I think, right, we have the right panel for it. We have the right panel for it, right? We have Rattigan and we have Melting Pot, and we are going to delve into geopolitics a bit, right, as it relates to what is going on, because we want to, you know, after discussing this, right, we are going to delve deep into this situation as it relates to what is unfolding between United States, Iran, and of course, Israel. Now, let me just play the first clip as it relates to give the most recent update as it relates to Iran new supreme leader, right? What he has to say to both the United States and Israel, right? Troubling times, people. This is very serious, right? This is very serious as tension is building up, right? Quite serious.
This is the moment Iran crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. At exactly 11:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, March 9th, 2026, the newly installed Supreme Leader of Iran, Mojtaba Khamenei, delivered a 12-minute address that was broadcast simultaneously across every Iranian state media outlet, every proxy network from Beirut to Baghdad, and transmitted directly to the United States State Department through a Swiss diplomatic back channel. If you look at the emergency session happening right now inside the White House Situation Room, you will see Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and a rotating cast of military commanders who have been locked inside that room for the past 6 hours. The silence from the building is deafening. No press briefing, no statement, no tweet from the president, nothing. As of 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, March 10th, 2026, the United States government has issued zero public response to what Iran just announced. The president, already dealing with a collapsing stock market, mounting pressure from European allies to end the war, and 7 American soldiers dead in 10 days, has just been handed an ultimatum that makes every previous crisis look manageable. In this deep dive, we are going to show you the exact text of what Khamenei said. reveal the 3 specific demands he made that have never been made public, explain why China issued a statement within 90 minutes supporting Iran's position, and break down the internal Pentagon documents that leaked this morning showing military leaders believe this war is unwinnable without a ground invasion that Congress will never authorize. Iran is not just resisting American pressure, they are dictating terms to the United States for the first time in modern history. Before we go deeper, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. What happens in the next 72 hours will determine whether this becomes the greatest foreign policy humiliation in American history or whether the administration finds an exit strategy that does not look like surrender. You need to be here when the White House finally responds. Subscribe now. Let me give you the setup of how we got to this exact moment. 11 days ago, the United States and Israel launched what they called Operation Epic Fury. The plan was to destroy Iran's nuclear program, decapitate its leadership, and force regime change within a week. President Trump announced the operation himself. He promised the American people that Iran would be brought to its knees, that Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei would be eliminated, and that a new government friendly to Western interests would emerge. It was supposed to be swift, decisive, and final. The cost was not supposed to be measured in American lives or in economic chaos. It was supposed to be a surgical operation that demonstrated American military dominance and ended Iran's nuclear ambitions forever. But the gamble was built on a false assumption. The administration assumed that killing Ali Khamenei would create a power vacuum. They assumed competing factions would fight for control. They assumed the Iranian people would welcome regime change. They assumed wrong. Within hours of Ali Khamenei's death, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps had already made their decision. They installed his son, Moshtaba, as the new supreme leader before the dust had settled in Tehran. There was no power struggle. There was no vacuum. There was only a smooth, military-backed transition to a leader who is younger, more radical, and more willing to escalate than his father ever was. The plan that was supposed to end in victory has instead produced a crisis that is spiraling in directions the White House never prepared for. At 11:47 p.m. last night, everything changed again. Moshtaba Khamenei addressed the Iranian people for 12 minutes, but he was not speaking to the Iranian people. Every word was aimed directly at Washington. For the first 6 minutes, he recited a list of what he called American crimes: the assassination of his father, the killing of Iranian scientists, the decades of sanctions, the support for Israel, the occupation of Arab lands by American forces. It was standard rhetoric. Then, at the 7-minute mark, his tone shifted. He stopped talking about the past and started talking about the future. He laid out 3 demands. The full text of these demands was transmitted to the State Department through Switzerland. Most major networks reported that Iran called for American withdrawal from the Middle East. That is accurate but incomplete. What they did not report is the specific language Khamenei used and the exact timeline he gave. Demand 1. All American military forces must begin withdrawal from Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia within 30 days, not eventually, not after negotiations, within 30 days. Demand 2. The United States must lift every sanction imposed on Iran since 1979, including all banking restrictions, all oil export limitations, and all technology transfer bans within 60 days. Demand 3. The United States must pay reparations to Iran for what Khamenei called the economic war that has cost Iran over $800 billion in lost revenue over the past 4 decades. He set the figure at $500 billion to be paid over 10 years. Then came the part that has the Pentagon in crisis mode. Khamenei said if these demands are not met, Iran will take 3 specific actions. Action 1. Iran will close the Strait of Hormuz to all commercial shipping effective immediately upon the expiration of the 30-day deadline. Action 2. Iran will activate what he called defensive military partnerships with Russia and China, including the possibility of foreign military bases on Iranian soil. Action 3. Iran will exercise its right under international law to develop and deploy a full-spectrum nuclear deterrent capability. He did not say Iran would pursue a nuclear weapon. He said Iran would deploy one. That language matters. It suggests they already have it. While Khamenei was delivering this address, something else was happening. Chinese state media released a statement at exactly 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time, 90 minutes after Khamenei finished speaking. The statement said China recognizes Iran's legitimate security concerns and supports Iran's right to defend itself against foreign aggression. It called for immediate negotiations based on respect for Iranian sovereignty. Russia issued a similar statement 40 minutes later. Both countries used language that essentially endorsed Iran's position. At the same time, oil futures markets opened in Asia. Within 3 hours, crude oil jumped another 18%.
Now, Jamaica, now listen to this because this is very serious. And I'm glad that Brother Rattigan and Melting Pot right, are here to break it down. There's one particular item that I'm very much interested in terms of what we just heard, right? Iran will deploy nuclear weapon, right? And will partner, of course, with Russia and China. Do you believe that they are joking? Now, let me show you what China minister is saying. Let me show you what China foreign minister is saying. This is no joke, Jamaican people. Look at this. Look at this.
If you have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, a missile with all the warheads, we call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. If you want to have war...
All right, take it away. So what Mystic Sensation had done from there is to research if China indeed possessed that sort of bomb, hydrogen bomb. Look at this, my Jamaican people. Let me share this information with you. This is no joke. Right? Here it is. China is estimated to have a total of approximately 600 nuclear warheads as of 2025, which includes hydrogen bombs, thermonuclear weapons, and other nuclear devices. This number is an estimate, as China does not publicly release information about the exact size of its nuclear arsenal. Key details: total stockpile. Independent researchers, and the U.S. Department of Defense estimate China possesses around 600 nuclear warheads. Bulletin point number 2, thermonuclear capability. China successfully tested its first full-yield hydrogen bomb in 1967, only a few years after its first atomic bomb test in 1964 demonstrated advanced nuclear weapons technology. Growing arsenal. China is the only recognized nuclear weapon state under the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons that is significantly expanding its arsenal. Take this away, Oni, as I am going to delve into this. Now, based on what is coming out right now, Brother Rattigan and Brother Melting Pot, that United States is now planning an exit strategy, right? It appears as if Congress is now pressuring Donald Trump, right, to close shop and leave. Now, I am asking, and I'm going to, let me begin with Brother Rattigan. I am asking Brother Rattigan that how do you see it if USA pull out of this war and leave Israel? Wouldn't this be might be a possibly total annihilation for Israel? Now, based on the terms, what Iran is saying, that it is not up to United States to end the war. What they are saying based on what United States had done, right? I mean, assaulted them, right? Killing, his father, sister, right? Mother and brother, right? Now, they are saying that the new what they call him? Ayatollah, the new supreme leader, is now saying to United States that he is not in any form of agreement with the United States in terms of ending this war. It is not up to United States to end this war. You understand? They are going to dictate the space. And they are giving United States ultimatum that if United States don't deliver, they will close the Strait of Hormuz. Ratigan, it appears as if United States is fighting what we call a conventional warfare, while Iran is fighting an economic warfare. Now, as it relates to closing the Strait of Hormuz, that area responsible for the distribution of roughly about 20% of the oil distribution to the globe. That is going to create a significant dent and pressure to the global economy. What say you on this matter, and where do you see things going from here? Do you see the possibility of might be World War III? Do you see that United States is going to bow to these ultimatums? What say you on the matter?
Well, I can tell you that this is a very worrisome issue, and frankly speaking, I just haven't paid much attention to it, because the worst case scenario, you're talking about World War III, as you said. You're really talking about it. I got a call this Saturday from a Saudi friend of mine, and he was giving me a blow-by-blow description of what's going on, not only in Saudi Arabia, but in the Gulf, in Bahrain, in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Qatar. And what's kind of surprising is that the Iranians are bombing those places. Some of those places, I thought they had friendly relations with them. I thought they had friendly relations with the Emiratis. And then next thing you know, they're blowing up hotels and they're firing missiles over there. And it's very, very worrisome. It's a very complicated, it's more complicated than the one of the Cuban, far more complicated. You know, there's no comparison. But when you talk about closing off the Strait of Hormuz, it's going to be a fight to the death, because, as you said, and we're feeling the effects already based on the oil prices. We see it at the gas pumps and elsewhere. This is going to cause some serious problems, because you have China, you have Russia, and I don't know if some of the things that you played, if they're AI generated, I don't know, but if they're not, it's cause for concern. And another thing that the one thing that I'm looking at, because like I said, I'm not paying much attention to this, because it's depressing. Yes. It's really depressing, you know.
Because what happened, I have the CNN version saying the same thing of that. You understand? So it is AI generated, but I also have the CNN clip stating that as well.
Yeah, it's worrisome. Yeah. And here is something we're talking about: the Ukraine war and the Ukraine and this going on. Here's one that I don't know how this is going to play out, but what if China says tomorrow, we're taking over Taiwan? If China says we're taking over Taiwan, and they said, look, US, you know, you're involved with over there, you're involved over here, you're there, we're taking over. Huge problems. I shudder to think what this world is going to be like. And I just hope and pray that somehow they can find a way to resolve the differences and bring peace to not only the region but the world, because there's so many strikes and incursions and wars going on now. Every time you turn around, there's something going on, and any one of these things. Look at Pakistan and India. At any given moment, and both of them have nuclear weapons. Both of them, right? So it's just so much to worry about that. I tell you, I believe me, Mystic, when I tell you, I don't even watch the news. I just watch a movie or watch a documentary or watch something that's kind of like just take my mind off it completely. Because from the looks of it, right now, it doesn't look as if there is going to be any resolution anytime soon. And here's the thing, and this is the one thing I heard someplace. And based on my experience, I'm familiar with it, where you have sleeper cells. So it's fine. You mash up the country and all that, but that's not the end of it, because you have sleeper cells and you have lone wolves. You have people out there who just get inspired by this and start the things on their own. Or you might have some sleeper cells and just activate them. So it's one thing to fight the war and you decimate the forces and you say, okay, we'll win. But no, you have what I'm calling asymmetrical war.
Yes.
Where you don't know where the next threat will come from. At least if you fight a country, you're here, they're there, and you say, okay, fine. But when you start fight sleeper cells and lone wolves, it's a difficult thing, Virgin. All I can say is this. I could just hope and pray that we can resolve this and we don't have World War III. We really don't want to have a World War III. We don't, because you hear the thing with the Chinese gentleman there, the hydrogen bomb and the warheads and all that. I mean, it's frightening. And what's even more frightening than just having them? He said they can deliver them undetected.
Yes.
They can deliver them undetected. Well, my little basement not going to be able to protect me. I yield. I surrender.
But what on the record, gun? I want to ask you a thing before you go. The big concern here is that United States seems to break or breach Geneva conventional laws and international laws. Number one, Donald Trump right administration acted unilaterally as it relates to going to war with Iran, right? Now, as a result of that, right, I am saying where the Caribbean is concerned, if the United States, let us put a scenario here. Let us put a scenario here why this is the reason why I am worried and very serious now. Let us start some serious things now, Brother Ratigan. Now watch this movement. If the United States overcome Iran, right? That simply means that is going to embolden Donald Trump administration. Now, when I said embolden him, Donald Trump is on a mission as it relates to what he had done in the Caribbean with Venezuela. Now, remember that he also warned that after Iran, it is going to be Cuba next. Remember, he said that. My thing, if Donald Trump is on pursuit, isn't this cause for concern as it relates to all Caribbean leaders that based on what Donald Trump is doing, the entire Caribbean basin as it relates to our sovereignty is going to be taken away? And when I said sovereignty is going to be taken away, right? If United States want to say, okay, all right, Cuba next, and if United States said Jamaica next, or Bermuda next, or Barbados next, or whatever next, what is there to stop United States from achieving this. Absolutely nothing. There is no international remedy. You understand, that can be used. So people need to understand, you know, people might be saying that, okay, all right, you know, who are defending United States. I don't think that they are thinking as it relates to the objective of what Donald Trump wants to achieve. Because remember, you know, Donald Trump had exhibited, right, his clear intention when he, right, moved towards Venezuela, right? He had broken international laws, Geneva Convention laws as well, right? And then remove a sovereign leader. Jamaica need to be aware, the Caribbean need to be aware. He moved a sovereign leader. So the message that Donald Trump is sending is saying that there is no one can stop me. I do what I want to do anytime I want to do it. Now, remember, Congress have to give you authority to go to war. Donald Trump administration say, look, this is my administration. We are going to circumvent that. We are not going to wait on you. We are going to proceed. And he did not get congressional approval. Now, I am saying now, many people might want, okay, and right now as I speak, Brother Rattigan, every single Caribbean leader right now, they might not want to speak it, right? They are just humbling themselves watching, but all of them wouldn't mind if Iran overcome the United States. And let me say it out loud and clear why I am saying it. The Caribbean leaders are worried as it relates to their sovereignty. If Donald Trump, right, becomes victorious as it relates to the Iran war, what next is Donald Trump's mission? And how Donald Trump can be stopped? As far as what I am looking on, Brother Rattigan, there is nothing there to stop Donald Trump. What say you on the matter before you go?
Yeah. You proposed the question and you did provide the answer. Nothing. The Trump administration stands for the proposition in the Caribbean that might is right. Simple. Okay. Might is right. And so if they said, look, we're going to have Cuba crumble to its knees and we're going to do everything within our power to do it, and we're going to recruit the assistance of all of these other countries, they're going to fall in lockstep. Believe me, they're going to fall in lockstep, because this is what happened to Venezuela. And what happened is the economic juggernaut that America is, not to mention the military might that it has. Which one of these Caribbean countries is going to stand up and say, no, not over my dead body? You say that, then do it over your dead body. It's that simple. And as you mentioned about the War Powers Act, and you know, where only Congress can declare war, and now here we are in one, and we don't get a congressional declaration, and so them just go around it. Yeah, a lot of things going on. However, the Chinese and the Russians, they are the only forces that one can say present some issues, some challenges to the American government. Otherwise, no, because the president has made it abundantly clear that he's not afraid of the Europeans. Him say them are wimps. You know, him say we'll take over Iceland, and we're gonna take over here, and we'll take over there, we'll take over, you know, and people start tremble when them hear that. There was a time when people would say, oh no, we need to go to the UN and we need to cast a vote in the UN and condemn you. When last you hear them talk about go to the UN? When last you hear them talk about go to the UN and go exercise a vote of condemnation? When last? That now again.
Right. As it relates to Donald Trump behavior, would you call it modern day colonization and pursuit?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think the US government would like to colonize any country, because when I say colonize, like, take it over and run it the way,
All right. Hold on, Ratty. The colonization that I'm talking about, right, is not to take over. I'm talking about having authority over Caribbean countries, minerals and those things, bullyism. Just like he took away Venezuela oil. Who can stop him?
That's been going on, but that's been going on for quite some while.
But what I'm talking about as it relates to colonization.
That's been going on for quite a while, and it's going on all across Africa, all over the place. It's just that it's more blatant. But here's the thing: Jamaica sits on tons and tons and tons and tons of rare earth and elements, right? Yes. That the U.S. government is getting now from way over the other side, Ukraine. If the U.S. government says, you know what, Jamaica, we're coming in and we're going to take this over. Again, the question is, who is going to stop them? Where you going to go to the UN and say you want to cast vote and prevent them from coming? If them say we want it, they won't take it. It's that simple. No, we may not like it. Not even me. We don't like it. But the fact of the matter is that if they decide that this is going to happen, it is going to happen. What JDF are going to stop the US military from coming in? JDF? And when a JCF, when man come down out of ceiling on the head top, and with the gun cover in front, it won't work. It won't work. It's just one of those things. We're living in a different time right now. There was a time when all this would have taken place, but it would have taken place under a veil. You know, it would have taken place under a veil, the cover of darkness. You wouldn't see it happen. You'd have suspect, you'd have hear, but you wouldn't see it. Now you're seeing it plain as daylight. You're seeing it, you know, unlike any other time in history that you're seeing it. You're seeing it right now. And to answer, to address the question you raised about whether or not, you know, the Caribbean, first of all, the CARICOM is not united. CARICOM is not united.
Exactly.
Yeah, CARICOM is not united. Yeah, it's not united. So that's why, you know, and a house divided is easily defeated, you know. CARICOM is not united. So if the Trump administration said we're coming in and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, you know what you would even witness? You'd witness that some Caribbean islands would join forces with the Trump administration. Say yes. Or if they don't join forces, they provide some kind of assistance, provide some base, some place where they can land and take off and do all kind of nefarious things. So, my friend, listen, if the Trump administration said we want to take over some island or, you know, some part of the Caribbean, at this point in time in our history, there is nobody who's going to, no Caribbean country is going to stand up and prevent it from happening. What you might hear say we need to go to the UN, but this administration has already indicated that, look, whatever we are going to do, we're going to do it because you know why? American interest reigns supreme. People forget that. People think that, oh, we're friends. Them say, oh, we're friends and we're allies. No, America has only interests. That is it. And if they're interested in doing certain things, then you move out of the way or you get steamrolled. And like I said, we don't like it, but that's the way things are right now. Next year, the year after, things might change. Next election cycle might change. But for right now, that's how things are.
And that is the way how I see them. Before I make the Thunderbolt melting pot come on, let me just take a call from Sister Pat. Sister P, you're on Mystic Sensation. Go ahead, my sister.
Good night.
Aye, good night, my sister.
Good night,
Blessing, Sister P.
No, I am at class here, listening everything, watching. I watch foreign news. You know what I say? Me feel a way about the Cuban doctor, then just gone.
Yes.
And my mind tell me say if Donald Trump tell Andrew Wallace say the pies in water, a reservoir, he more pies too.
You have to. You have to.
And then what kind of country is?
Compromise government.
I want those minerals out there. And you got to get rid of some of those people. So tell me what you're going to do. You're going to pies in reservoir and tell them say drop in there whatever. And what that him gonna do?
Well,
The way Andrew Wellness, who Prime Minister, is away from us and the country. Today I watch the whatever the woman ended their chatting foolishness. And the Prime Minister sit down there and 2 times he hold up his head. All one not bench, he didn't know whether that's like his song I said. Your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. And I watch him.
No. Him body, hold on, Sister Pat. Him body there in Jamaica and him mind in America as it relates to Donald Trump situation.
Like
Yes.
and before I go, I don't want to slope the pitch. Do you hear anything about 80? What do you hear about 80?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Well, I heard and show flow this evening, like it happened right now, say 2,100, 1,000, make it speak if I'm right,
Yes.
1,200 people dead. I get 738 get 43 adult dead, 17 killed, 60 civilian strike by US drone.
What?
Somebody want to know. Yes. I need a So Flow TV this evening.
Hold on, the sister P, because we were just having the dialogue as it relates to what I observed Trump mission is, and he obviously spoke that it is Cuba next, if and when he finish with Iran. But what you are saying now, we are going to research it, right?
In the show flow this evening after 5. Same as in command. But few time was a little different. But in the party by YouTube, when Sportland Spice are going, breaking news, and he might tell you that happening. When he must speak,
yes,
it's happening right now. 17 kids, 60 civilian dead, and 43 adult. So we have the mix up.
All right.
738 injured in last 1,200 people between dead and injured. And his strike come from US.
Whoa.
Zone.
Whoa.
Yes.
All right.
So
As you speak, wife is checking it out. That is something that we are going to show, right, as soon as wifey find it. Thank you for that news part. Really serious. And you see, I didn't even know about that. And these are the concerns that I have. These are the concerns. And I am saying.
And the next thing, Jamaica next. After Iran, Cuba, after Cuba, Jamaica. Lord God have mercy upon we.
But I am saying, Pat, that every Caribbean leader, right, although they're not coming out and saying it, they might be praying for Iran, you understand, to really, right, sort of, suppress United States. Because if United States come out as it relates to being victorious in Iran and Israel, then we don't know, because it seems like Donald Trump is on a mission that he's going to make America great again. What does he mean by making America great again? Should it go back to a time, you understand, where white supremacy reigns supreme, and where, you understand, blacks and other people seems to be their servant? And what does it mean as it relates to behind that political philosophy and narrative, right, and political rhetoric saying make America great again? So, I am stunned, but thank you for telling us, Pat. Wifey, I think wifey came, wifey have it, but I'm going to make Melting Pot do his session. Melting Pot has not spoken as yet, so let me just make Melting Pot do his session. Blessings, Sister Pat. Thank you for that. All right, we are going to get in that as soon as Melting Pot finish in session. Oni, put up melting pot on the board there. But you have seen what is happening. Serious time. We're scared. The Caribbean leaders, right? I know for sure that they are shrinking in their boots, right? Based on what is happening, it no look good. Talk to him, melting pot.
No, it not look good. And you know, from afar it not look good either. Because if we ever even have a thought process of thinking of World War III, it would have caused so much chaos, so much disillusion, and so much loss, not just in life, but in investment. Currently, my take on this war that is currently ongoing in the Middle East with Israel and Russia and United States coming together, forming a coalition team and bombing Iraq, and where it has spiraled into Iraq and some of its allied now bombing the United Arab Emirates because they are citing the fact that that's a capitalist Arabian state
Yes.
linked to United States. Yeah.
You're
So
right.
that's all that is, you know, being played out in that regard. So we see where a lot of these countries that surround Iran in that region are getting involved. Lebanon is on Iran's side. Oman was a peacemaker. Somehow he never get the things done. Now we see where Iran a bomb place like Kuwait and all those places. Yeah, so it's a war now that is expanding. But I can tell you it's played on a poker table. I mean, China would come out and state what they must state. Russia would come out and say what they must say. We know Russia weak in terms of manpower. I don't know in terms of military capacity like Warred and them things. But we know them weak in a manpower. Yeah. I know China will flex its muscle. And you will hear comment like what the gentleman they say about the hydro bomb and all these things. Because that's just one way of playing it out on the poker table. Now, when you look at how much investment these superpower countries has invested in recent time, they don't want a World War III. I can tell you that. None of them will benefit. Because if you mash up the world, all these investments that them put in, a failure for them. But them have to come out and say this thing because it's a time for flex muscle. Yeah, this young son of Ayatollah coming in. Yeah, I know him just come on the scene. And number one, I hear him one people them a shout dead to him already. Because they're not in favor of him taking over the reign. You understand? So them personally I shout dead to him already. It reached a situation now where him not the backing of him own people. So it a cause problem for him right there and then. Because him not the backing of him own people. Alright? Him seeking help from China and Russia to help him fight the war. But I don't think them going to come out and help him fight the war. Because as I said, there's so much investment that's been done in recent time, like satellite, all these new electronic vehicle, robot, AI thing. That whole heap of investment upon the car for the big superpower them. Yeah, so in the region now where the 20% aisle, the Strait of Hormuz, where the 20% aisle traverse to the other side of the world. Them can't really, Iran can't lock down that, you know. If Iran lock down that, that's serious trouble. But the young boy will say them thing there. Cause I'm a bluff same way. Because one of the things where I'm going to reveal to you guys. Remember prior to this war, you know, Iran state was killing several thousand of its own citizens. Yeah? Several thousand of its own citizens. if my figure is correct, it's over 30,000 them killed.
Yeah.
So it was a civil war before this official war.
But hold on, Pat, let me say something, because as it relates to the selection of the Ayatollah's son, the Ayatollah who died, and his son, and what you said that Iran people, majority of his people is rallying against him, right? To be honest, everything that I look on, I am seeing that the entire Iranian people, right, is supporting him. They are not rallying against him.
No, man.
Let me show you a clip. Let me send that clip. As a matter of fact, let me send that clip right now. Let me show you that clip right now. Go ahead. I'm going for the clip.
Yeah, I watched the BBC thing live 2 days ago. They must show death to him already.
Okay.
But you see, we are getting too much.
Let me show you another clip.
But one thing, Sir Byron, the people never in favor neither the daddy before him dead. That's why them did come out and demonstrate, you know. And them said with his son coming now, not no change. So them shouting death. I hear it with my ears. I see the video. I don't know what the percentage, but I know it's not everyone in favor Ayatollah's son. Now, when you look at other things now, in terms of what Donald Trump do, because as we said, our war are complicated, you know. And we are get too much different conflicting things. But we could look at Donald Trump now in our region. We know Donald Trump are flexing muscle hard in the region and want a lot of things changed within the region. None more than controlling back the oil from Venezuela, citing that America did invest tens of billions of dollars in that program. Yeah, for them drill more oil and them not drilling oil. I don't know if that is true. That's what them come out and say. Now, when it comes to Jamaica, we know Jamaica have a whole lot of mineral. We know them get back the backside levy. Yeah, that give back to them. Yeah, so Jamaica now make money off of that. We know Jamaica have other rare minerals and touch. And I don't know if Kanjo get we already to this guy. But one thing I can tell you, him can't just run in pan Jamaica and start a war. You know? I mean, I'll tell you why. Jamaica is a Commonwealth country. And the head for the Commonwealth is the United Kingdom. They won't allow that. You can't jump on it. You can't jump on Venezuela. Yeah, but not Jamaica. You have to have the Commonwealth heads and other countries like Australia and New Zealand. Them have to defend the Commonwealth state. So I'm not going to really do that with Jamaica still. You might do it with Cuba. And then now, if you try it with Cuba now, you know China and him have a problem. You never not talk about Russia because Russia fight a war. China not fighting a war right now. But if him touch Cuba, that's what him and China go to war. That's why I'm just using Andrew Wallace and some other Caribbean leaders. We just mash up them little US dollar we are flowing at them system. But him can't go war with Cuba either. Can't do that. Trump and a fool, you know. Trump know what him can do from what him cannot do. Him know him can use Andrew like a foot mat, like a tablecloth, like a old map where you use a map tile it. You can't use him for all of them various things. Because I respect him enough. Yeah? Because I know him a criminal. And so him find interest in Andrew Holness. To give him the things that Jamaica have. Anything we want. That's why we talk so we don't know how much of its sovereignty gone. You understand? Because Andrew well compromised. And Andrew I try. If Andrew wouldn't mind if something, he wake up tomorrow morning and yes, Trump drop out. But you still not going to help him because the file up on the US State Department desk. So it's not even Trump and Andrew problem, you know. At the State Department I'm problem. But Trump I want to milk him. But this warrior now, I know it have everybody headspace. Like my brother Ratty, no comfortable car. Ratty say no bunker can't hold him, you know. Now this war time, yeah. There's no bunker with all them warriors when I hear Chinese have. But nobody no want no war right now. We want the world to return to a place of relative peace. You understand? Where, you know, the economy around the world no suffer from war. Because anytime you have war, you know, economy suffer. And especially in that region there, yeah, you know, it's an oil zone that, and an oil around the world. And once oil get affected, everything get affected. Price gone up and everything. So we don't really want that. Yeah. What we want Trump to do is come to him sense and pull out the troop them. Just make the people them get on with them life. This whole heap of bombing and killing innocent people and destroy building, it don't look good. You know? And you can't look at one guy like Trump just go around and flex his muscle here, there, and everywhere. You know? This guy is something wrong with him. Something fundamentally wrong with him. I don't know if it's the Epstein file get him so, you know, in this wild Rottweiler mode, where am I going like him as a Rottweiler? Because something not trouble this man. There's never a leader in modern time who has seek to cause war in so many different regions of the world. And he might do it simultaneously, or practically one after the other. Because I'm just done the war with Gaza, you know. And then him go to Venezuela. Him just done Venezuela, him come at Iran. Where next? You're right when you ask the question. Where next? But I don't think him have anywhere else going. Yeah? We know him a bypass United Nations. Yeah? Him no bother deal with UN again. We know him disregard NATO. We know him not have no respect for the Geneva Conference as well. You understand? So me no know where I'm going with this guy, but somebody have to stop him.
Who's going to stop him?
Well, I mean, you have the Congress in the United States. Them midterm election are come up. In percentage down to 30 odd now. So I grind too hard slowly but surely. Because remember, you know, the people in the United States, you know, must realize that Canada as a part of America, them join together and not see separate them, you know, a borderline, one mainland. But Canada now support him right now. I mean, the people in the Congress are look on that and see where that is very fundamentally wrong. Yeah, because the relationship between Canada and America is a long-standing relationship. Remember, America still get electricity from Canada. And the problem is caused by mounting the tariff that start to set the world on fire the other day. It's a problem that like another war, that was a tariff war. That was another war again. And see him lose Canada. Him and the United Kingdom now have the best relationship either. Him and nobody now have the relationship. Can hurt every country just in order to carry out the mandate, make America great again. No, I know that word was going to be a problem. I was baffled and confused. I said, oh, I'm going to make America great again in a 4-year period. But I swear, him want to do. He want to go all around the world, create a war, here, there, and everywhere, control people. Remember, I'm going to Ukraine to help them. First thing he want, 60% of them mineral. 60%, you know. Zelensky have to get mad on him. So I don't know when him take out of Jamaica. I know him want back the island of Venezuela. These things are a problem. Problem. Well, Cuba now have nothing to give him, so he want him dollars stop going to Cuba. Well, him can't touch China, you know. Because me say if him touch China, then that's the world war. From him and China no physically have nothing in Russia, they not gonna have no world war. China them now go create a world war in order to support Iran. Me know that for a fact. Yeah, but they will bluff him around the poker table with them right now. Yeah. So even if that clipping where you play earlier on suggesting that Congress message go to them and them in their whisper not no come out, you know, they don't really have even touch a part there because Congress have a way of doing them own things. Them can come out and put out a press conference or them can say nothing. Yeah, because them guy a play poker around the table, Sir Byron.
Yeah.
Big for a country them. Them all for them one another, you know.
All right.
In a no time you see Trump and Chinese president, their summit and all them way there. So them work. Them know what them want from the other smaller country them in the world. Yeah. Them know what them want from Iran. Yeah. Because they want to control the around it, basically. And control the pathway where the oil travels through. Yeah. Straight up Omas. Yeah. Them want that. If them get that, them control the region. Them want to destabilize Iran as well. Because them see Iran as a powerhouse in the region. So destabilizing Iran of its nuclear, armory will also give them control and more stability in our region. Because them say Iran fund Hezbollah, which is a terrorist group in Lebanon. And them say them fund other terrorist organization within the region using the oil money. I don't know how true it is, but that's what coming out of the United States press conference where Trump put out from a day. Yeah. So it's a lot of things on the table and only time will tell how it will go. Yeah. We know say the whole region will take a battering. Israel will get batter. Kuwait, Lebanon, Tehran, Iran, the whole of them places will get batter. So we don't know where it goes, Serbia.
All right. Okay. So let me just show as it relates to, you understand, what I view that the majority of the Iran public is in support of the new leader. And this is coming from CBC News, which is a well-established news media. So let us play that just for the record, right? In showing that majority, right, of them are in support of the new leader, and this is what United States created. All of them are now supporting, right, the new leader.
Is dead, long live the king. And if the baton passes from father to son, so much the better, say thousands of Iranians celebrating Mojtaba Khamenei as Iran's new supreme leader, no matter how tarnished the mantle. This will make them fear the name of Khamenei again, says this woman. Our new leader came to avenge the blood of our martyred one. The choice of Mojtaba is regarded as a defiant act aimed at U.S. and Israeli threats of regime change.
Mojtaba is a symbolic leader with sending a message of continuity and resistance. I don't think it's going to alter the battle plans.
The battle has already found its way across the border into Iraq, with now daily...
Let me just stop share that because we have a next video that we want to run through fast. So let us stop share that. Just want to share, right, that information for the record as it relates to, right, based on what I saw, right, and I mean, it's a well-established, right, news media, right, publishing and showing, right, that the entire, right, Iran community is in support of the new leader. And this is very serious as it relates to now, what Donald Trump had done, because Donald Trump believed that, a regime change, that the people of Iran would go against the new Ayatollah. Well, guess what? It didn't go that way. Now it's a different situation as it relates to the people of Iran are now in support, right, of the Ayatollah. Now, let me say this in terms of that Donald Trump is unpredictable. And you cannot put nothing out of Donald Trump as it relates to what he's thinking right now. I am going to show what Donald Trump had moved towards Canada in doing. A lot of people are going to shock. This is telling you, Jamaica, that this man is unpredictable. We cannot say that, okay, he's not going to do this. Look at this, what I'm going to show you, Jamaican people. Look at this. Look at this. Let me just try to look at this, Jamaican people.
And institutional accounts held. So Donald Trump just froze $89 billion in Canadian government and institutional accounts held in American banks. He used the same legal authority that the United States has used to freeze the assets of Iran, Russia, North Korea, Syria, and Venezuela. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the financial weapon reserved for enemy states and terrorist organizations. And he just deployed it against America's closest ally. Mark Carney's response came within 6 hours, and it didn't just counter the freeze, it triggered the largest single-day movement of foreign sovereign assets out of American financial institutions in the history of the global financial system. 2.3 trillion in motion. Because of one sentence Carney said to every government on the planet. Warren Buffett called it the most self-destructive financial decision by an American president since Nixon closed the gold window in 1971. But here's the part that should make everyone in Washington physically ill. Trump froze $89 billion that was barely there. Canada had already moved its money quietly over the previous 90 days. The freeze was a gun pointed at an empty vault, and Carney used it to convince the entire world to empty theirs.
All right, let me stop this, right, and stop sharing this and get to the panel quickly because we want to close quickly. This move is telling the world that Donald Trump is unpredictable. When we go back to World War II, it is the same behavior that Hitler had shown, and they did not take him serious. And guess what? Brick by brick, Hitler increasing strength, increasing power, and what we have? World War II. How many Jews were killed? Over 6 million Jews. What I am seeing an exact pattern where Donald Trump is concerned. And it gives cause for the Caribbean leaders to be trembling. The international body is saying that Donald Trump is out of check. Donald Trump is defying his own Congress. What are we not reading? It is in plain sight. And that's why I am worried that if Donald Trump overcome Iran, where is he going to go next? What is his next mission? Jamaica, wake up. Let me just have Brother Rattigan quickly respond to this, and then we get to Melting Pot to just close off this quickly because we don't want to go past 9:30 here. Brother Ratti, wrap up. Let me just get into that, and you just wrap up this first.
Yeah, here were some good points. The last one next. Well, he telegraphed it. He didn't even telegraph it. He said it. Cuba is next in our hemisphere, and after Cuba, who knows? Maybe Jamaica, maybe Haiti. Who knows? At this point, it's clear that Donald Trump appears to be unstoppable in his quest to do a whole bunch of things, Don't forget that the Supreme Court gave him a whole heap of leverage when they
Yes.
said you shouldn't have the presidential powers, shouldn't be harnessed. In the main, shouldn't be harnessed. You have some checks and balances, but in the main, they gave him unfettered right to do a lot of things, and he's doing them. And then also, don't forget, as much as some people might not like it, people voted for him and said, this is what we want. Problem is that I think he's gone too far now, because if you look at the polls, even some of his own people now are saying, no, we voted for you, but we never voted for this. We had no idea you would have got this far. And what them say, the whole saying, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think we're seeing it in real time.
Yes.
And look, I just hope and pray that he'll take a course correction and say, all right, you know what? Some of these things we're going to step back, take a hard look, and maybe, do a U-turn. The problem is that, remember now, Donald Trump has his own mind, but he's surrounded by people to, advise us.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of these people are making convincing arguments for him to do certain things. I don't think every decision he's making it on his own volition.
There's a window behind him, Ratty. There's a window behind him.
Yes, there are people there telling him, yes, you must do this and you must do that, and here are the reasons why and whatnot. And some things, yeah, he's making his own decisions, but I think some of the decisions he's been convinced to make those. And it's for our region now, because that is where my concern is. My concern, the Caribbean. What does it mean for the Caribbean? And we've said it many times tonight, doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, because right now there are very few Caribbean islands that will stand up to the Trump administration. Very few. And so it would appear as if anything that he wants done, he's going to get it done, because he has a lot of presidential powers. Congress is not standing up to him. Forget about the UN, because remember what was it? The EU. He said the EU basically useless, right? And like I said, you don't see anything going on. You don't see anything going on in terms of condemnation in the UN, because you know why? They're afraid of retribution. Them going and condemn him, and then the next thing, the leader gone.
Exactly.
Or them
He's an unchecked person.
the economy have a problem. All of a sudden, the economy just have a problem. So
the one is a time bomb.
Yeah. So if you think about what could stop him from going further, let me start by saying the EU can't stop him, the UN can't stop him. The Supreme Court, basically, they've given him or validated a lot of power for him. I think it's the elections, the midterm. The midterm, that's the only thing I think that, because if the voters go out and vote, if put it this way, if the polls stay the way they are right now or get worse for him, come later on this year when they have the midterm, the House might change. And if the House change, meaning go from Republican to Democrat, it's going to be difficult for him to, them going to handcuff him. There's not much him can do. More need the Congress. And so if it changes to a Democratic Congress, him going to have a lot of problems. A lot of things going on right now. Because they want to take over all of the committees, I remember Congress have the power, the purse strings. So them just now fund a lot of things. And him just also, I more get frustrated. Really get frustrated. That I think is the fence that can really stop him from going further. And that is the American voters. And right now, the way things are looking right now, it looks like
he's losing popularity. I think he's at 38%, if my memory serves me right.
Right.
So he's losing popularity for sure. And we hope Rattigan that is so, because I am thinking in terms of dealing with Donald Trump, the start of mine. I am just asking,
All right.
are we going to have, is the United States really going to have a general election, that midterm election? Because it seems like Donald Trump is pushing for the war, you understand, to have reasons to avoid it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Well, the war won't stop it. The war won't stop the midterm. Yeah, the midterm will go on anyway. Not like Jamaica. You know, it'll go on. But here's the thing. No, here's why I think he's losing a lot of popularity. He was saying America first, and he was saying he can't bother. No, he doesn't believe in the adventurism. Will go out and start wars and all of that. He must say, no. We need to consolidate everything in America. Forget about what the world are, though. He was more of an isolationist when he started. Okay. And now he's more like an expansionist. And people start saying, we never sign up for all of them wars and takeover and things like that. And it's a distraction from what's going on, what should really be happening in the country. And then
I think he's also losing the MAGA support, it seems to me, to interact.
Some of the support, yeah, he's losing some of the support, yeah. Because they must suffer. They must suffer like the rest away, you know?
Yes.
So if it continues, it's going to be a setback for him, because now once you get a Democratic Congress, all of this stuff we're going right now when come to an abrupt halt. And it's going to be, and then you're going to see how frustrated he's going to be, because can't get anything done. Cannot get anything done. So there we go.
All right, let me have Melting Pot, right, finish up the few minutes that we have. Melting Pot, it is 26. You can burn Onyx 15 minutes. Let me just give you about your time. All right, blessings.
Well, I like how Ratchet just hit the nail upon the head, because I said the same thing. Midterm election, I go grind him to a halt.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have a lot to lose to, you know. And him damage the economy already. And him can't make him damage it no more.
Exactly.
You understand? Me know him not pass midterm. Then would I want to like this now to continue on this destructive pathway. Nobody.
Exactly.
Remember, when you come and tell the people them we have vote in America, say you go and make America great again, you never stipulate war and all these things and tariff, you know. And them, they are two war in itself.
Yes.
Like go around the world, the tariff. You understand? It was a war on trade. And then we deal with war upon humanity and, you know, region and all these things. So I'm there on a destructive part. And it's only midterm election can stop him. Last week him the 38%. Me know him gone, but about 30 this week. Yeah, about 30. And remember this now. When you drop your ratings, popularity ratings, so that there's no way you can win the midterm. So the Democrat now come take over and halt him. If you don't mind sharp him going to prison too. Because remember, them have big thing for him right now, you know. And I tell people, say right now, the Epstein file, I mash up Donald Trump brain. So I'm just a guy now out of control. Nothing in order anymore. The Epstein file I do him head. All of them who involved in that file. Remember, over 1 million times him name come to the Epstein file.
There are some serious allegation Melting Pot with the Epstein file, and I think that is going to hang over him head. Serious. It's very serious going to Melting Pot. Very serious.
Yeah. And him know that. So I'm behaving erratic right now. You understand? Because like I have to get my work where I did one done and get it done within a jiffy. It's like a mad ants all over the place right now. Yeah, but America will not stand for that, because America have a lot to lose. Remember the whole of them are send space rocket, gas space, you know, satellite and everything what them investing in, you know. Them the world cannot afford a World War III. China don't want that. Russia don't want it. America don't want it. India them don't want it, because the whole of them gone to space with billions of dollar investment. You understand? And it is also them economy with them a shape on earth, you know. Because them have economy in our space and economy on earth. Them can't allow one man to damage that. And them now go trigger World War III. So them a play the poker game with him. Them know I'm going to lose midterm election. And them have control back, you know, all of them supremacy. But them have. The world are going to become a better place without Trump. Yeah, because Trump right now, for them coming, a peer problem. Peer problem. I'm well compromised, you know. I'm well compromised. Russia have him file. Putin have Trump file. That's why I can't advance to Russia. I'm going to bluff around the table with Zelensky. Because Putin now move. Him couldn't get Putin to move. Couldn't. But you see, when we have organization that drop them guard and allow Donald Trump and the United States to flex them muscle, and one such big institution is NATO. NATO drop them guard. And so by you dropping your guard and can't protect your region, have to run to this guy. You elevate this guy. Exactly. And then feel like in charge of the world. Because if Europe have to run to him in defense against Russia, just one country, him look on NATO and him ridicule them. The French Prime Minister, UK, him ridicule all of them.
That's true, Melting Pot. That's true.
And him tell them, say America, I go stop invest the amount of money into it if them not take up them slack. After them business them there on them own. Yeah.
But even Saudi Arabia, him insult. He had insulted Saudi Arabia too, you know.
Him insult them. Yeah. Because it's a guy like that, you know. Remember I said Trump, you know. Him not care, you know, he's a madman, you know. I remember everywhere him go, you know, him bring things into disrepute. Yeah. Everywhere him go, him bring things into disrepute. But I'm not surprised because if you look on Trump and Andrew Wallace right now, you see the two of them are 6 or 1.5 dozen of the other. Are two people who compromise and them no time a wind down upon them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trump can't miss prison, you know. Just like how Andrew can't miss prison.
Love that.
There's no reason Trump can't miss prison. And there's no it's prison. And there is no way that Benjamin Netanyahu can miss prison. Them three man they are. You understand? So 3 madman we have right now. You call them blind mice, a 3 madman. Trump is just acting extraordinary because him know him time coming soon. Yeah, and him going fall from grace to disgrace. Him escape impeachment. Him not going to escape this time. Prisoner miss him. Andrew Wallace not miss prison. Benjamin not missing prison. So, you know, it's glad that the world will, you know, get rid of these 3 corrupted individuals. 3 men who seek public, you know, vote and get public vote, go into office and disregard the public. Jamaica has paid dearly for keeping Andrew Wallace for a decade in power. Andrew Wallace has now mashed up Jamaica. Jamaica is on a scrap heap. And it's the same thing Donald Trump done to America. Basically, if America didn't have such a strong economy, they're on a scrap heap. And when we're looking at Israel right now, Israel is on a scrap heap. The amount of money where Israel wore for arms, where it take from United States and UK, unbelievable. And then the infrastructure now start get bombed. So mash up the place. The same thing in a Jamaica mash up by Andrew. America mash up by Trump. So the world can't wait long enough to get rid of them 3 man there. But civil society then have to play a role. And as I say, where America is concerned, you have a lot of people around Trump who ill-advise him. You have a lot of people in Jamaica who ill-advise Andrew. You have people in Israel who ill-advise Benjamin Netanyahu. You understand? So civil society play a role in this too. Because you can't let evil people rule a nation, you know. What you must do, you must weed them out. And you see them rise up and them look like them evil. You weed them out by voting them out. Trump shouldn't come back. Trump shouldn't come back, you know. No. But the Democrat, them allow him by not moving Biden from the voters list. He was too old and everybody said, no, you can't have him run for presidency. You should have moved him long time and put Kamala Harris as the face of the Democrat. She have a run as president, not as vice president. I carry this man, I hold him by man, like she had chaperone. No. That weak the Democrat. So the Democrat pay for that. And America pay for it in extension. In the case of Jamaica now and holiness, civil society helping to steal the election. That's why I say, man like Glasspool Brown, aka Tadpole Green, him forgot prison when all is said and done. Big Mama forgot prison, the treason. Them lied too much. Yeah? Dushan Shabadi, arrest him. Arrest him. Him cause him interfere with election. It's a crime that, yeah? And anybody who found in breach, yeah, who sell them deal and never go work, you charge them. God, them right now make the Cuban doctor them leave Jamaica. Because if the PMP did win a Mark Gold become the Prime Minister, we have doctors. Jamaica would in a crisis. So civil society will sit down and get wealthy pay in them salary package from taxpayers and who grossly underperform and allow certain things to happen in the society. You charge them. You do a a general inquiry. Yeah, you do a general inquiry as to what went wrong in a September 3rd election. And everybody where you find in breach, you arrest them and charge them and sentence them. Because that's the only way you can restore back law in Jamaica, you know. And that's the only way you can set the benchmark now for the next election where come. Nobody ever try for middle in the election affair. Whether you're local or you're overseas, prison term 25 years. I yield back the floor to you, Sir Byron.
All right. Thank you for that melting pot. Solid argument. Right, I tell you now, with this panel that we have, Brother Rattigan, melting pot, you have to stay on deck. Right. I want to say to the gentlemen, thank you, Sir Melting Pot. Thank you, Brother Rattigan. You know, well, solid. You know, and we love that. And again, bigging up all the people who pass through Mystic Sensation and give their support as usual. We really appreciate that. Remember to tune in to Rattigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. Tomorrow I'll be back. I've been gone for 3 weeks. I'll be back tomorrow. So people,
all right, so
tomorrow. I think we start at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Talk to them, Ratty. Talk to them.
Yeah. Come reason with Rattigan. We'll return tomorrow. We'll start at 8 p.m. sharp, and we're gonna have a hard stop at 11. Hard stop at 11 o'clock. So we'll go from 8 to 11, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. Should be interesting, and of course the phone line is open, so you can call in and voice your opinion.
All right, here you go. Have it. Tune in tomorrow. Lock tight. Right, and brother, Lonesome will be on as well, right, and other platform that you can go across and support. Bless up yourself, my wonderful people. Walk good, love you all, and remember, we never going to stop from fight phone, you know. Always you're going to get a melting pot. Always you're going to get a Brother Rattigan. Bless up on yourself. Love you all. Ratty, give blessings. Melting pot, out.
Blessings.
Blessings.
Listen.
I don't want you to come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right side of the argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.